magic, and politics. We just had a couple tech curveballs, but we solved them. 46 episodes. Solved. Don't look too closely.
Twitch just put in a video buffering thing. Use the low latency toggle under the advanced menu and setting to disable low latency mode.
We have a 0.8 drop frame.
That's the first time they've given me a pop-up for it, though.
They're pushing. So, 1%. We're climbing.
Are you at least on Wi-Fi?
What is this?
We're doing great.
We're doing great. We're doing great.
I'm on Wi-Fi.
We are back, for episode 46.
Question mark is very much applicable right now.
Let's just call it
Are
here.
we back?
Maybe we're not.
We're just going to sit here with the cookies and the coffee we've made.
Ask some existential questions.
Yeah. What are we really doing here? What's our lives?
It's been a week.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, we're good. We're stable.
Okay.
Sweet.
So
what are we on?
Speak for yourself.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
announcements.
that I'm
Thank
stable.
you.
So we've got a whole slew of announcements for this coming week and weekend.
Starting with, well, Rob, do. How's the what do you call it? The podcast. Yeah.
Oh, they'll be up there this weekend.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes are not.
Oh.
But I have them converted over.
Excellent.
I just need to upload them.
And where can they find those?
They can find them on Anchor. Or wherever your latest podcast is sold.
And there's a
or
button
listened
below.
to. They're free. Spotify, Apple, Google.
Sold for free. Like my body. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, nothing really important or special. Just some lame ass turtle one shot that you all wanted.
Our tech issues because we had to get the pyrotechnics ready.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
The house is on fire. You're not getting your security deposit back. Nets open up and actual turtles are falling.
That's right. That's right.
No one tells you about the smell.
So, the Turtle One Shot is happening on Sunday.
Yep.
At 2:30 p.m. Central.
Yep.
Right here on Dice Priority, so come check that out.
Who's going to be playing with us?
Well, let's see. We have the wonderful Matthew Foreman, who you're familiar with.
That's
He finally gets another chance to play in Edda, in his own world. He got to do that once before. Got to do it once before in the Crash Pandas one shot.
It was a really good time, actually.
Yeah. But now, instead of playing in Mercinia as a raccoon, you're going to play as a turtle.
Yep.
Somewhere in the Great Span Sea.
Yep, in the Infinite Islands, we called them.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob is also playing.
Rob?
Rob!
You mean the tech wizard from Dice Priority?
That's right! Not other!
I've heard so many good things about him.
I heard that beneath his beard is another smaller beard.
That's right.
Correct.
I think that's
and beneath
true.
that one, there's an even smaller one.
Nice.
And then underneath that, it's just all teeth.
That's right.
Teeth that have teeth that have more teeth.
And then eyes.
I don't want your beard anywhere near me now.
Or do you? And then we have some special guests. We have Dan from Variant Roles going to be playing with us. Woo-hoo. And Nikki from Legends of Evantress. So, two channels that we love dearly, and people that we are really excited to kind of connect with. And we've had a lot of cross connection with Variant Roles so far, but so far we haven't had a whole lot of Variant Roles people coming in.
All up on us.
Yeah, and Dan does a lot of DMing and he doesn't get a chance to play often, so we're really excited to give him a chance to play.
And then Legend of Evantress, let's just call it what it is, my mistress.
That's right.
We're coming over and we're just all gonna have to deal with it.
That's right. My what have Nikki and I said? My sister from another Archfey.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
You pull me aside. For Justice's next arc, I think it'd be best if he wasn't here.
Yeah, we brought in Nikki from Legends of Evantress.
She's going to play her own character, Vengeance.
My fabulous Fae sister is going to be joining us, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else, folks?
Tomorrow, you can catch me and Matthew on Invisible Son of Variant Roles.
Yeah, Bisley. Always, always, always. All righty. So, when we last left the Prism, they had just... So we're going to start a recap. I'll kick us off. Y'all jump in. They had just been through quite the ordeal by entering the Void, where they were lost, traveled through time, battled many different foes, negotiated with the denizens of the Void, and had 2 powerful items crafted for them by this Voidsmith who had beckoned them there. Confronting powerful entities such as the Whispering Father, Void Giants, and powerful ancestors of Sovellias, they were able to eventually come back from the Void, and they we started. So let's do it this way. Y'all started kind of journeying back, and we picked back up in the temple, and where you had to get these 2 items crafted. And what were these 2 items? What happened? What happened with that?
Quick thing, mature content is on.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Well, my initial recollection is it was going to take time for the Voidsmith to create these items. We had about a month.
Yeah.
And so during that month, we helped each other basically focus on improving a specific aspect of ourselves, which mechanically enabled us to gain, after several high DC successes, access to a feat or an ASI or something similar.
Yeah, a significant improvement to your character. And what did y'all end up picking?
What'd you pick?
I decided to go with Warcasters so that I can do more damage from farther away.
I decided to go with Mage Slayer so I could do more damage from close up and prevent Warcasters from doing more damage from far away.
Doesn't Warcaster not work from far away? It works as a reaction if something moves out of your...
It helps you maintain concentration, like Call Lightning.
Right, and also...
It allows you to
provoke
use
an
a cantrip as an opportunity.
Any spell.
Any spell that
Any spell
has a
that
single
targets.
target.
I just
Oh
use
my gosh.
cantrips.
Great spell. It
Disintegrate.
helps. So Warcaster actually helps from afar and up close.
That's right, yep. And I am now lucky!
Yeah,
I
by
picked up lucky.
exposing yourself to the Void.
Yeah, that was wild. It was... Listen, it might not have been the best risk versus reward scenario, but I did get a good reward out of it.
You got lucky.
I got lucky.
And I got an ASI +2 to my int by shoving my face into a void portal and
Right.
facing down a void god.
The Whispering
Which-
Father.
Yeah, but that was rough.
And obviously being saved by Gilly.
Yeah,
Some figure in a
That-
black and red cloak.
Yeah, it was obviously Gilly.
yeah.
It was the Shouting Mother.
So, you all did that and through your journeys and confronted the Mind Flare aliens known as the Thune.
Yeah. Oh, that was a rough fight. They were rough.
We almost created a time paradox
Yeah.
by letting Midgarling die.
But you eventually got your items, you survived the fight with the Thune, and Midgar Lang eventually spoke to you just before you all exited into the material plane and revealed what?
He's working for Duplacroix, and basically, and as we had all kind of ascertained, the power of the church is failing, so the arresting light will fall, and somebody has to kind of be socketed into that spot. It's either going to be a Vorgesh, it's going to be Dupla, or it's going to be someone else. And that someone else is TBD.
Or we let it fall and the void comes in and consumes everything.
Oh, that's true.
Changing the very fabric of reality as we know. So, you have many options in front of you. As we pick back up, Midgar Lang has ushered you back in, well, the Voidsmith has ushered you back into the material plane with all of y'all, Midgar Lang, and you sat there in the darkness as Midgar Lang spoke to Sovellias and said you should probably get that looked at. And you all heard Justice cough.
Which is weird because he doesn't have lungs. Or
Does
does he now?
Doesn't he though?
Is Justice a real boy?
And this is where I went, greater restoration with hands.
Alrighty. So for greater restoration on Justice, I would like you to roll me a d6.
Uh-oh.
Which D6 am I rolling?
Yeah, the green one.
The green one?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Nothing bad has ever happened where the DM has asked you to roll a random dice.
No, not.
That's
never.
a 1.
Okay. So you put your hand on Justice.
What is happening? This feels very strange.
Do I have any idea what's happening?
Roll medicine.
Is it still pitch black in here?
Yes.
Oh no.
That means I can't see any of this, so this is fun.
Yeah.
What?
Give me some palliative
God.
care.
Yep, nope, that's an 8.
So as you kind of touch him right, like just kind of very quickly, you do kind of feel like his chest gives a little more than it used to. It's a little softer.
Oh. What do I see when I look at everyone here?
So Selena looks about the same. Justice has a nice shiny new pair of bracers. He actually looks about the same. He's just coughing every now and then.
Any blood or sap or anything?
Nope.
Just coughing.
Nope.
Okay.
And as you turn to Sovellias, you do see that he is kind of shifted a little bit. Like his spine is crooked. And you can see his skin, and his veins are moving. They are alive, it would appear. His blood has been corrupted, and his spine has been curved.
Oh.
You have disadvantage on dexterity checks, dexterity saving throws, and constitution saving throws.
You're squishier than normal. We should go outside so I can actually
You're
see
gonna have
what's
to say
going on.
that again because I need to write that one down.
Dexterity checks and saving throws.
I still have a greater restoration left, and I had intention to do both of you before he said this. It's now only more important.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we go outside and then.
Go ahead and roll another d6 for Sovellias.
Oh boy. That's a 5.
Okay. So, yeah, you have disadvantage on dexterity checks, dexterity saving throws, and disadvantage on constitution saving throws. Justice, you have disadvantage on stealth checks.
Oh my god.
Does that cancel out with my
It does
advantage?
not cancel out, it just competes.
Got it.
So you're straight rolls it right now.
Uh-oh.
Did anything happen with the greater restoration on him?
You feel slightly better, but none of your conditions are ameliorated.
Something's not right.
Yeah,
Wait.
you could say that your
Uh,
insides are moving.
well, I'm glad I can't see this right now.
Perhaps we should move out of this darkness.
I don't know if I want to leave this darkness until this is fixed.
Voidsmith, have you seen something like this before?
Yeah, yes. Unfortunately, the void takes a toll on all of its denizens eventually. It takes a strong will and a powerful connection to reality to resist its effects. You were in there for some time. It is, of course, a risk.
Do you know of any way of remediating these issues?
With some healing, care, and good luck, you might be able to cure him. But it will unfortunately take significant resources.
Understood.
I am sorry. The void is a dangerous place. How are you coughing?
I do not know. This is a new sensation for me.
Do you mind?
He's squishier than normal.
I can't see anything. Go ahead.
And the darkness fades, and you hear a. They don't like the light. Oh, I think you have like mucus.
That is strange.
Yeah.
I am filled with a sap-like material that aids in cooling and circulation. Perhaps it is congealing.
Yes, it would appear.
Oh no. Why did you give him this?
Roleplay content.
Come on.
Well, I believe this concludes our business together. You have been trained, you have been to the void, I have crafted you 2 powerful magic items, And that is that.
Thank you for your service.
Thank
Your
you.
assistance.
Remember our deal. Suppose if you do not uphold it, that is where that is.
What was the deal again? If you remind.
I believe it was basically send Duplo LaCroix to the Great Machine and forget about her.
Okay.
I believe that was basically the gist of it.
Cool.
Don't let sleeping dragons lie.
And we do that when we murderize her with the whatever.
Hopefully, you're hoping.
Unless we follow Midgar Ling's suggestions. Fun times.
Good luck in your journeys.
Perhaps we should seek the largest population center.
Right. So, just before we leave, and I'm not going to say anything, but I am just going to, point to the amulets that we're wearing.
What?
If it matters to you, the Iron Authority can track us with these.
Oh, yes, they can.
So, use that information as you will.
The Iron Authority is known where I've lived for quite some time.
Okay.
One day they will come for me, but it's not today.
Something like that out there. It is Thursday.
I appreciate your concern.
I mean, I just want to make sure we're up front with that information.
I appreciate your honesty. It's a very mortal trait. Good luck, Prism. I
Thank
think
you.
whatever you decide to do with the arresting light, I think it'll all be okay.
What's your definition of okay?
The worst thing that can happen to you is oblivion. How bad is it, really?
Is that really the worst?
Some would say.
I think I disagree. And I think at this point we all understand that what the void brings is not oblivion.
No, for some it is not oblivion, but for many, for most, those who cannot handle the changes it consumes.
Thank you, Woodsmith.
We should be getting on our way to Angirod. So I'm gonna pull out my cloak. I'm gonna throw it around me and to make sure I'm fully covered.
I'd say.
Is this going to get worse now that we're out?
No. I mean, well, you have been affected by the radiation of the void. The more void you come in contact with, the more corrupted you become.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully we'll get this kid before that.
I couldn't do anything about it today. We'll try again tomorrow.
I'll pull out the mask too. That I pulled off the seer.
The seer? Okay.
Put it on.
So what cloak do you have on?
Cloak of displacement, but I'm not actually attuning to it. I'm just using it to wrap myself.
Understood.
I'm not wearing his robes.
And now you have the seer mask. He says, "Oh, you see why they dress this way."
Yes. Shall we go?
Oh, we're doing great.
Okay, bye, Prism. Get the fuck out of my house.
As the darkness starts to seep in.
Exactly.
The tentacles and.
And he opens the door.
Bye.
Light.
Doesn't work. You will now stand out front of the Voidsmith's little stone home in the walls of this abandoned quarry turned night town. What do you wish to do, Prism?
Oh, what time of day is it?
It's an excellent question. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Well, not that dice.
You do remember this town is basically surrounded in perpetual darkness.
23?
You think it's the start of a new day? After a little searching, you realize 2 days have passed since you departed from the portal. It is now 13 days to the blood moon.
It's a brand new day.
Alrighty.
No sun in the sky.
How are we going to make our way to the coast?
We still have horses and cart. We just
That's right.
take that.
Okay. And perhaps, do we remember with geography how far we were from where we were supposed to meet up with our contact?
Angirod, so the port of Angirod, which your contact is Scout, if that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, technically, from Nighttown, I believe it's just about a day. It takes
Okay.
about a day to get there.
Good deal. I didn't know if we were going to try to find some way to book faster passage.
You're pretty far north.
I feel
And your aunt said she'd be there.
rested enough. Perhaps we should.
Though I don't know if she'll recognize me.
Well, we'll figure it out.
I hope so.
Worst case scenario, we have powerful contacts back in Mercinia, and there's also the new. Who did we reinserted somebody in Fort Mountain Hall? What was her name? In the religious house, because the other guy was giving the
Examiner
charlatan.
Thomas's
Examiner.
successor.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, Vice Examiner Para.
Para was her name, yeah.
Perhaps she could be of assistance.
So, also, your aunt is a much more powerful mage.
And
Then,
she's a
we are.
sorcerer, so slightly different.
Right, but I mean,
I don't
she
think
might have contacts.
True, she may have contact. She definitely doesn't specialize in healing. or
I
any of
didn't
that.
think so, but you know.
She might know someone in the city who might be able to get us a deal, depending on if she's laying low or not.
Midgar Lang left, right?
He's actually standing outside there with it. He's like,
I couldn't
Hey.
remember. Okay.
he's like, well,
Does my membership fix this?
it doesn't fix it, but if you visit the planet of Lang and the Lang Consortium, the market, you could probably you could definitely find someone to heal or augment your form. You have what we call in the religion of Lang what we call it translates to small ascension.
This is more like a descension than an ascension.
Well, that's only because
Matter of perspective.
Well, no, he is definitely corrupted, but sometimes you have to break things in order to build them stronger. So you have an opportunity. Your body's been changed. You haven't yet learned how to adapt it, but you could. So yes, if you are willing to understand the void more and the power of Lang. His big, like chubby pink grin spreads, revealing rows and rows of teeth.
I might have to think on that one, but for now it's highly unpleasant.
Yeah.
And if there's any way to get rid of it.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, or in other
That's-
cases, spines.
True.
And white blood cells.
And veins.
Yeah. Good luck, Prism. I hope you take the deal. If you don't, you'll always be a customer of the Lane Consortium. I was only a broker. Good luck, and I'll see you later. And he plane shifts out.
I'm just kidding.
He just just walks away.
Well,
I'm gonna burrow in the earth instead.
Gets on a void bike and just drives a little.
It's like a scooter, more like
it's manual.
Totally
outside of the.
Yeah, doesn't propel outside. Doesn't translate. Just
so hard.
What do y'all do?
Perhaps we should
Leave.
not rest here in Nighttown, but I feel rested. Perhaps we get immediately on the road.
I think so.
Yes. As soon as.
Probably for the best.
Tiny little city.
So talking about our technical difficulties, how's our frames?
Good. We've had 5% drop frame. That's not egregious. Why?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because mine's glitching out like nobody's business, but it could just be mine.
It's hit or miss.
It's only 5%.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch might be on
It's
nothing tonight.
Twitch.
Yeah.
It's Twitch.
It's Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch.
There's a bunch of
There's
them.
It's a little twitchy.
Can't live with
Their
them.
server might be congested.
Can't stream on Twitch without. Catch us on Mixer.
We all know our backup website.
Oh yes.
Matt's got us covered.
Where the mature content filter will always be on.
Always. Oh, I won't say it on camera.
That's right.
For the podcast. For now.
Okay.
So, are y'all just sitting on the road? Is that what you're doing?
Load up into the car and
Yeah.
head off.
Okay.
The coffee.
I just want somebody to say hello there to me.
So you were able to make your way after about... I mean, you could technically get there... You could take 1 point of exhaustion and get there at, like, midnight. Otherwise, you'll, like...
Yeah, sleep overnight.
Yeah, sleep overnight. And, get there. So, if y'all just settle on the road eventually about halfway for posterity's sake, you make camp. You find a decent enough little cave on the side of the road. You probably use... Well, what are y'all doing now that you're making camp?
Perhaps we should survey the area to make sure there are none of those elemental creatures nearby.
I will take 10 minutes and commune with nature.
Alrighty. What are your 3 questions?
Terrain, elementals, and other planes of existence.
There you go.
Alright. So elementals, there are some, but they're pretty far away. Other planes of existence, I would say, again, elemental chaos, earth elemental, and then what was the other one?
Terrain. Terrain bodies of water. I don't know if those are two separate or together.
Yeah, you're cool. Basically, there's nothing terribly interesting about this area. I would say, actually, as you travel, now you travel further north, what you're noticing is there's far fewer earth elemental presences, and they seem more organized. They're less scattered.
That doesn't necessarily make me feel any better. Okay. Any large ones within 3 miles, or is it all organized?
All standard.
Okay. Perfect. I will tell the group this.
Excellent. We should be able to make camp with relative safety.
I would have taken an hour to regain one of my 5th level spell slots while we were on the road.
Okay.
As natural recovery.
Yeah.
So my hurried healing didn't work earlier. I can try it one more time before tomorrow on one of you.
Okay.
Attempt to heal Sovellias. He seems to be
heal justice.
more damaged.
Okay, well they're arguing and figuring that out. I'm going to enhance my ability.
Okay.
Because I think I can do both at the same time.
You can.
It's just enhanced ability that's around.
Sovellias, I appreciate the sentiment. However, you must remain at peak efficiency. I am less impaired than you, it would seem.
Yours may be easy to heal.
We also all heard that he could benefit from this. Give him some time to decide. You were not made to be this squishy.
If you wish, I feel that
We're not that far from town. I'm sure somebody there can do something. Mano.
Should we put it to a vote?
I vote to heal Sovellias.
Same.
Vote to heal Justice.
I just have the healing power. I don't care who I'm healing because it's an 8-hour difference before I try to heal the other one.
I teleport away.
So it literally makes no difference.
You can heal Sovellias, it looks like.
It literally makes no difference because we're going to have this exact conversations in 8 hours.
Collapse, sir. You're an
So,
Titan.
if you heal Sovellias,
God.
go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay, I did enhance my ability.
You're all part.
Wisdom.
Okay.
So,
We get
does
into
that
a
help me?
epic
It
fight.
does not.
Okay,
No roll Tuesday night.
that's cocked. That's a 4.
Okay. So 4 and a 9. So you know that. You still have disadvantage on dexterity checks and dexterity saving throws. You no longer have disadvantage on constitution saving throws. As you place a hand on him and heal him, you see his veins stop moving, and they kind of and they kind of crawl. You see all these kind of worms kind of crawl out and get out from his skin, and they flop over and die.
Oh, that is unpleasant.
You take 4 points of damage. Not that it matters, but you take 4 points of damage.
Oh,
I like
I'm
how
going
you
to have
said
to
that
do
and you
this
rolled a
multiple
4.
times over the next week, aren't I?
Yep.
Off of hers.
I think so. That's why I voted for you to heal Sovellias.
Said I don't care. We're going to get it taken care of.
Right. I just think it's going to take much more time, much more attempts to heal Sovellias than
I
it
just
will for Justice.
don't want him to liquefy.
I believe that I'm fine. It does not seem to be.
They did say that it shouldn't get worse. You know.
Correct. Is this
We'll see.
what it feels like for you all? I hear
I
you do that
wouldn't know because
sometimes.
I don't know how you feel.
How do I feel?
Not great.
I could use some tuning, but I'm fine. That was a harrowing experience. The void.
Yeah. Just a bit.
I wanted to talk about what Midgar Lang said.
Yes.
I did not want to say it at the time, but he seems to posit the idea that it must either be a Voragesh or Duplacroix. We ourselves know several powerful figures that perhaps could fill that space or fulfill that role.
You want to be more specific?
Well, not that I owe much allegiance to her. We have been attempting to resurrect an ancient dragon. She could be one. We do know a powerful golden dragon, whom I believe seems to be pure of heart, though she did not seem to be interested in fighting anymore.
Yeah, she's tired.
Though it did not seem that a god was required for the position. I do not know what it would require of her, but that could be something that interests her. Those are two ideas that come to the top of my head.
Do we know more about this machine? If it could fill the role?
No, we do not. Although, from what I've heard, it seems to be uncaring. I do not know if it would be any better than the choices. And what do they say? The evil you know.
But doesn't it go that the machine directly opposes the void? Like, if that's the thing, then isn't that...
It might be the most powerful option we have, aside from Dupla.
Perhaps we could...
I know the machine is a much more prevalent creation myth here in Droska than it is in Gishari. Maybe we can find something out over here.
Indeed. I'm just putting it out there. I would not like to... We have 2 weeks, less than. But I do not believe that the 3 choices that are presented to us are the only ones.
Most definitely not. I don't know about Drill. I mean, you may know more, but I don't know if she would be valid if she's even not at full power. I mean, Mr. Finkelstein, I think, still has the crown.
That is true. We could always put him in charge.
Yeah, I mean, he'd make a good. He's he has the experience.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's good with people.
Well,
We should just put one of the life forges in that role.
Big yikes.
Do you have any ideas, Zelina?
The most insane idea I can come up with of the people that we could trust the most. You're an archfey.
I'm not an archfey.
You're on your way to become one.
I don't know
could.
how any of that works.
What about Glitch, even?
And I don't know how long that takes.
Your siblings have the tomes. All you have to do is ask for them.
Zelina is correct.
Still not one.
Who needs tea? I'm gonna make tea.
I will help. I'll pull out my my cooker's kit, my portable cooking utensils.
I should probably stay away from helping cooking anything that anybody else is ingesting, so I don't know if this is contagious.
Just collecting the worms, saving them for later.
I mean, we just went through a whole process to stop Morgan from ascending.
Yes, and if you had the same intentions of Morgan, I would never say anything.
That is true.
I almost didn't know.
I'm glad that you said something. It would not have occurred to me.
And I think this will be a little slightly different than ascending.
Indeed.
It's maintaining. It's a burden that no one wants. So I'm not asking you to. I'm just pointing out the possibility.
It's an option.
I wouldn't know the first thing about how to do any of that.
Perhaps
I
that is...
mean, all these other entities that we're talking about are ancient and powerful and have, spent decades, if not centuries,
Existing.
and learning how everything works and gaining power, and
Perhaps that's...
those are all things that I just don't have.
Perhaps that's a downside.
As
It makes
far
you
as I
corruptible.
understand, you don't necessarily need to know how it works. You just have to pick up the mantle. And you have to do it in such a way that it allows you to.
It did seem, from what they were describing, that all the pieces were essentially in motion, in place. We just need to pick...
We just need to supplant you wherever Dupla is, or whoever we pick, erroneously or otherwise. Literally all we have to do is Dupla's going to put all these rituals in place. A Vorgesh is going to die. The Sword of the Vizier is going to be there. Someone's going to pick it up. All these things will happen. And we just need to be in the right place in the right time. And not stop it. Just interrupt it. Appropriately.
If if I understand correctly, it's the loopholes that allow Dupla to end up being what she'd be, right?
Because she's going to pick up the reins of power. And if someone does it instead of her, we have the contract and we can verify this. But I don't think it matters who it is as long as they're able to physically pick up that burden.
Maybe we should spend some time studying these.
We definitely should.
And
I'm sure we'll have some time on a trip over on the airship.
Well, I meant
Right
right
now.
now, while we're taking a rest. I don't sleep.
We do have 8
You don't
hours.
sleep.
Yeah.
You only meditate 4 hours. You could get some rest, and we could quietly pour over these documents.
Go for it. See what we can glean out of them.
I mean, if it's Dupla's name in there, and that's what allows anything to happen. And the other thing is, what happens if Dupla's gone, and this all happens around the blood moon, and I'm the only one there to pick up the reins or whatever, and I can't figure it out.
I think the power will be seated. It just needs a home. And if it doesn't at all, that's the problem. That's where we end up with having a conversation between us, the Great Machine, and the Void.
And out of character question, didn't somebody say like that it won't be immediate? Was that the thing that was said?
Yeah, the armies of hell arriving won't be immediate, and you gather whatever happens to the arresting light. It's like it's still slowly fading. These things take years to mature, or at least months in this case, since this is D&D, and this is all coming to a climax. The armies of hell arriving would take some months, and
That's
basically any kind of falling action would take some months. But yeah.
Got it.
So, we have time. As I said, I'm only pointing it out as a possibility. Power corrupts, so I don't foresee any singular person being able to withstand that for very long. Now, that could be 100 years, which is longer than my lifetime, but in the scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, I don't foresee any one person being able to manage that for very long. But it would give us time to be able to learn how to pass the mantle if needed.
And I would say if someone had to be chosen, I would want it to be somebody who is pure of heart and does not seek the power for themselves.
I'm not sure that's any of us, but I don't know anybody that good. We're the best we've got.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen.
We're the best the arresting light's got.
Yeah.
Well, once we get away from the Iron Authority, maybe we can talk to Naz. That might be a good start.
Commune with some gods, maybe? Oh, perhaps Selena.
Who was that?
Yeah, who was
Chase.
that?
That was just Chase.
The cough is getting to him.
Yeah, that's right.
Perhaps Selena could pose the question to some of the deities. She seems to be able to at least get a picture from them.
And,
We can always see who Marissa wants to pick up her mantle.
She's like, no, take it from my golden fingers. That's Marissa.
When did Marissa become Rita Repulsa?
After 10,000 years, I'm free.
The arresting light was holding your back.
It's time to conquer.
I'm pretty sure we've already established that that's not the goddess. Marisha Ray is the goddess.
Yikes.
So.
Oh no.
Justice. Marisha's escaped.
But we've already heard from Marissa that she didn't want to control everything. That she left it this way on purpose. Probably hoping that some group of idiots had a plan. Here we are.
Well, it would seem that we meet at least half of those prerequisites.
We're a group and we're idiots?
Indeed.
I agree.
Well, I mean, we're not so idiotic that we think that the way to fix things is through one death and, you know, more suffering.
Hey, yeah, we can always put Motoru in spot here. We know a lady. And her dragon. That would end great, wouldn't it? Be neat. She pure heart?
Pure evil.
That's what they call it.
No.
Perhaps we should...
Did you tell us that your aunt's in Droska?
Yeah.
Gilly's
Because I had
descendants.
Gilly send a sending spell.
Oh yeah, that's right.
These
And
things
she's
all
going to
link
meet us
together.
at the port. Where we're already heading.
I just couldn't remember if that was player knowledge or character knowledge.
Yeah.
We can always ask your aunt. She's been around a lot longer than the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't think she'd go for that.
No, ask her for
Oh,
an opinion.
recommendations.
I
Yeah,
think,
we can.
I think whatever we do, we need to be careful with whatever information we share with your aunt, because we just saw how things ended up with your cousin.
Mm-hmm. But she
So-
died. My aunt hasn't died.
Well,
That you
all I'm
know of.
saying is, a lot of time has passed and a lot of things can change.
Mm-hmm.
We are 0 for 2 in terms of
Family. Yeah.
And
the Anastasia.
I know.
Yeah.
I
At least.
I keep track.
we really
Technically 0 for
have
3.
no idea what to
It's
expect,
a lot more.
and I think it's better to be
It's
safe
a
than
lot
sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll play the situation by ear, obviously.
Right. We need to suss her out before we just info dump on her and trust her blindly.
That's it. Mafan
When has that ever backfired?
Just saying. It's probably, you know, if I've learned anything.
What an episode that was.
If I've learned anything.
She's just like,
The whole time I'm there, like, they are telling the wrong person.
Mafan way. Dupla's just back behind like the painting, like
Yeah.
the whole just rubbing her hands together.
So,
That's exactly, but more French.
we've got lots of things to think about. And while you guys are gonna take a look at that document, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna 4th level enhanceability their intelligence.
Okay.
So I can
Okay.
hit both of them.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go to bed. Unless there's any rituals you need from me. Are we sending any animal messengers? We've already communed with nature.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Get your rest.
Do we need to put anything into the ring before we go to bed?
I think everything's in it that needs to be.
You use the reviva?
I put it back in.
Yeah.
Put it back in.
I put a new one in with diamonds that we had. So
Perfect.
thanks to, you know, that whole scepter from Morgan, we have plenty of diamonds now.
Nice.
Well, that's a thing.
And if we were
Shall we get
ever
started?
able to get around to that mission with the Friends of the Fallen, we'll have more diamonds than we ever know what to do with.
Might come back up sometime.
Sometimes soon. It's a deep
2 weeks. I give it 2 weeks before they come calling.
It's 14 days.
You guys, you've saved the universe once. Time to do it again.
Well, I mean, a lot of that was dependent on Alric, so,
Diamond.
and he needed to regain his abilities and strength.
And you know what? If I can figure out how to not continue pissing off the new Mercinia lady, then we might have a friend that could give us the keys. So we'll see.
Indeed.
Could be dreaming.
So, you go to bed, you all begin to study the contract? Is that what
Yep.
you're going to do?
Yeah, we can triple team it maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
so all three of us have our intelligence enhanced.
So,
2 of you.
Well, 4th level gets 3 people.
2 people.
It's a 2nd level spell normally, so you bumped it twice. That should allow 3 people total, right?
Unless it's an every 2, like spiritual weapon.
D&D Beyond, targets +2. Oh, I'm just reading the little blurb.
Right, the 2.
Yeah, so it's 3 total. 2 additional targets. So yeah, you all have your intelligence.
You all can roll an intelligence check. So if you have history, it's history.
Yeah. Okay.
So otherwise it's just straight intelligence. So roll history with advantage, all 3 of you. See how you do.
Nope.
7. You're an idiot.
14.
13.
No, 14, but yeah.
23.
Good.
The cheese stands alone.
Yep.
I'll say
It does.
those are words.
Okay. So do you have? So I can give you. We're good. There's just a little hiccup. No worries. Someone heal this asshole.
I
did
tried.
this.
I tried.
It's on the list.
I'm so fast, you couldn't get me.
That's true.
I could actually finish.
Anyway,
What?
put your dicks away, boys.
I don't have one. I'm like a Ken doll down there.
Oh my god.
So, do you have specific questions, or would you just like me to?
Just general looking for loopholes, anything where they could be utilized, they could be like misconstrued.
Right.
Yeah.
Midgard told us basically what to look
Yeah.
for.
So the
But we're also looking to see like if it's if it's reliant on like Dupla's name being in there, or like how exactly that works.
Right. So basically, after you all study it with the 23, this is basically how it works. The contract is established in several phases and sub-phases, right? So basically what you gather is that the very absolute last phase is, of course, freeing of Orgesh falling through on the deal. But by the very nature of this kind of contract, the fact that it's based on deeds that are complex and difficult to achieve, etc., etc., basically, and Dupla is not a signatory, she was just a broker.
Right.
Basically, all that is required is for them to make a full faith and a concerted effort and satisfy all the prior clauses, because the contract, the only way the curse works, is if technically, is if Sovellias grabs the blade. That's the only way Vorgesh gets freed, as far as the contract understands. Once he reclaims the blade of the Vizier, Vorgesh is free.
So that has to happen in order for somebody, then Vorgesh would have to be slain.
There are a few failsafes. Powerful enough sacrifice during the blood moon with the blade. So if another creature sacrifices another powerful enough creature, and it's got to be a good one, important and aligned, Vorgesh could also be freed as long as the other terms of the contract are met. But if every other term of the contract is met, it's set in phases, right? So you complete tier 1, you get reward tier 1. You complete tier 2, you get reward. These are all established and permanent. You get all the way up to the top, you don't get there, and you did your best. Basically, a détente is established. There will probably be an awful toll, and hell always gets its due. But essentially, the church would have its power, and business in Gishari would resume as normal. But as far as anyone can tell, Minister Ravas and the Grand Presider, they want this to happen.
Right. So the whole thing where Dupla would become in control.
She is in control now. She was the broker for a reason. She is, as far as you all know, it's not so much that Dupla would reside at the absolute apex. It's that she wants things to remain the way they are. She has a really good deal, and she's not looking to go even on this with the Pit Fiend. She wants the world to remain the way it remains.
So she wants Vorgesh dead anyway. Yeah. So she's planning to try to kill Vorgesh.
She wants him to not be summoned.
Basically, yeah, okay.
But if he was summoned and killed,
and there was someone there to take place, such as Dupla, she wins still. So she's got a plan, and she's got a backup plan.
And if he is never summoned at all, things stay as they are.
with the arresting light fading.
Mm.
Here's the thing, though. Unless we get the blade away from everyone else, there are plenty of people there willing to make that sacrifice.
Correct. I'm sure Ravos or somebody else will sacrifice somebody.
It will happen.
Correct.
But yes,
They have no shortage of people willing to do those sorts of deeds.
Sorry.
That's been shown.
but Dupla's chief goal is to get a Vorgesh summoned, have him be killed, and then ta-da, and all is well.
Right.
That's her chief goal. Backup goal would essentially be prevent him, if he doesn't get summoned, well, the arresting light keeps failing and it's a problem for another day.
So, sorry.
As I'm snoring over here, because I'm technically sleeping. So Ravas and Dupla are probably the only Ravas, Dupla,
Fiona Plath.
and Maeza Mayor are probably the only powerful enough sacrifices on a blood moon to be able to, that will be there, because they're the oldest and most ancient. Presuming that Dupla and Ravas are working together, that leaves our golden dragon as a sacrifice.
I mean,
Or she's in on
the
it.
Countess
There's
of
someone else.
Antinia,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also
They're human.
Angela, whatever her face is, Creighton.
There are a lot of prime candidates, but those Ravas and Meza would be the top.
And the Countess isn't entirely human anymore. So.
And because I rolled a 7, and I'm asking to have it explained again, so just to be clear, if we summoned a Vorgesh, but then a Vorgesh was slain,
Yes. The contract would still be
the
satisfied
contract would be satisfied, so the arresting light would be repaired.
by the power of hell and the power of the church. It wouldn't be repaired, it would be replaced.
Replaced. Would that bring hell on earth, but with Duplo still in charge then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
that
the
is
idea.
understood.
So it wasn't like we slay him and somebody else can pick it up and go with it instead.
I mean, this is all poetry at this point, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't, it's not like one and done, but I mean, he's dead, but he's just the general. He's one piece in a larger scheme. He's summoned, the power of hell reigns on earth, regardless if he's alive or not.
So we're still looking at things like Hellforged
Yes.
and mass
'Cause
suffering and death.
So
all the terms of the contract are still satisfied.
So
So our best bet is one of you claim the blade, we run off with it,
then a
and then
Vorgesh,
nothing happened, and then figure out how to fix the arresting light after the blood moon's gone.
but then a Vorgesh's
No,
one of us claims it.
I can't
Yes.
pick it up.
Indeed.
Somebody else grabs it. We wait until the blood moon's gone, and then I can
quick
Does it
question.
reclaim it.
What happens if a Vorgesh is already dead when he reclaims his blade? Based on like the things in the contract and everything.
I would say, based on your understanding, I mean, hell itself, a Vorgesh is dead, and then he reclaims the blade?
Yeah.
Well,
When we go to hell, kill a Vorgesh.
Well, Vorgesh, no one knows where a Vorgesh is. He's in prison somewhere. But yes, if you were able to, well, let's just say it.
If only we knew. Who
If
knew
only
where
we-
Vorgesh was
If
in
only we
prison.
knew somebody who also had a grudge against a Vorgesh and was powerful.
A Vorgesh would not be summoned, and perhaps this is getting into some esoterics, but roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, because we could just summon a Vorgesh.
Quick, I just would like to know,
Just have to get a baby Kieran.
does it seem, I was
the
going to
thing
say,
is, how does it work? If a Vorgesh dies in the material plane, does he die, or does he go back to hell and regenerate?
Well, if he's
Like the
summoned
way
to
that
Earth,
Morgan is regenerating.
you don't know. You don't know.
If you die in the material plane, you die in real life.
Once
So-
once the material plane is essentially hell on Earth, maybe those rules would change.
And that would happen once the contract is fulfilled.
It would begin to happen.
But what about before?
Roll the dice.
Do I get long rest?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not getting jumped.
and one last question. From the contract, from what it looks like, the blood moon seemed to be a very specific time frame.
Yep.
I agree with you that your plan of maybe one of us claiming the blade would prevent Vorgesh from being summoned, but perhaps we would miss our window of opportunity to appoint somebody else.
I mean, but I don't think that, like, there's not really good options to appoint anyone else, I guess.
I mean, we've
Like,
discussed...
it opens it up, and either there's hell on earth if we kill a Vorgash.
I'm saying if one of us summons it, that is like a pause button.
Listen, I know that this is all kind of boardroom talk and all that, but like even if we abscond with the blade, even if we do that, isn't the contract set up with loopholes that if they tried their best but for reasons outside of their control, they can't fulfill the contract, things still happen?
I mean, the church still gets its power, but
And
hell doesn't come to Earth.
Isn't it hell fueled?
It is, but it's not quite as extreme as legendary action. Not quite as extreme as a literal general of hell being able to preside in a certain. It'd be basically become, Helgashari light, diet Helgashari.
So,
It's complex.
and you said that in the absence of the blade, they could just sacrifice somebody very powerful and do basically the same
Gotta
thing.
be done with the blade.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah. Gotta be done with
it's-
the blade.
If you look right here, it says, with the blade.
The blade is the key to this whole thing. It's an artifact.
Understood.
So, choices.
The Iron Authority doesn't seem concerned about any of that.
I mean, the Iron Authority doesn't seem concerned about anything but
Well,
themselves.
but the thing is, where's the Iron Authority getting their power? What's keeping them safe from the void? And
I'm guessing the machine.
is it? Because I mean, we're here. We should figure more of that out.
I mean, I don't know if we have time. I don't know where the machine resides.
Perhaps your aunt...
We can
would
definitely
know.
ask her, yeah. My aunt might know more information.
She's looking
If we're
for
going
some
to a
time.
large port town, the large port town will probably have more information.
Is the Great Machine a deity?
I think it's literally listed in my deities document, isn't it?
Is it?
I'll tell
From
you.
over a year ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Effectively, yes, it's a god.
So we've been on air for a year next week, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
We forgot to
next
announce
week?
that.
June
crap.
13th.
So, but
One
Wednesday's the June 12th this year because
Mm.
everything shifts because time.
Stupid time.
So,
Reveals
yeah,
that
it'll
for
be
me.
52 full weeks
Kill
of
me.
us streaming.
Wow.
And we haven't missed a Wednesday yet, knock on wood.
52 full
That's not
weeks
good.
and not a single good episode. It's amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it? Singular in our accomplishment.
This is your prison, Matt. We're just
That-
visiting.
That's true. That's
Thanks.
true. One day we'll find our talent.
It is not on here.
No, well, it is a god.
I believe you. I'm just telling you
It's,
that
it's
it wasn't
god
on
equivalent.
here.
Yes,
Why don't we
it's
just
god
assign one of the
equivalent.
Warforged gods?
So
Listen, I have
divination
all my
might work on
handouts.
it.
Yeah, go ahead. Use divination on the great machine.
My dagger just starts talking to her. Indeed.
I've got my helm of comprehend languages. If I can just touch it, I can understand anything.
Oh boy.
You know, I tried to use that excuse all the time and never
Just
worked.
doesn't work.
I could just
Anyway,
touch it.
so I'm sleeping. I got through a long rest.
So,
Are you guys doing anything else while I'm sleeping? Because I'm a sad human.
12 more hours of discussion.
So after you all discuss that, you do see that this is cosmic level stuff that's happening. The very fate of the material realities and suspense and choices are confusing, and all the outcomes seem difficult and hard to navigate. And you all just kind of think is like everything seems to have a little push, a little pull to it, and at some point perhaps. You just gotta do what you think is right. Try your best.
Deep stuff.
It is a true clusterfuck.
And remember,
Just how we
whenever
like it.
you're given the choice to choose,
And you will choose wrong, that's correct.
and you'll be punished.
Refresh my memory. When we talked to the Iron Ambassador,
Yes.
he was talking about how like nonplussed he was about, the whole hell on earth thing and the fading, arresting light.
Yeah.
Was he saying that it's their Iron Authority that gives, like, the way
iron-
that they have things set up, the Iron Laws?
that's what's protecting them? That's what they believe is protecting them?
Yep.
Or did they specifically talk about the machine at all involved with
I
that?
don't think he referenced the machine much at all. It's
Okay.
the iron laws. However those were constructed is what protects them.
Okay.
You don't know the source of the iron laws, but they are legendary in their power.
But they also were talking about instilling the iron laws in Gishari.
They made you that offer.
That is an option.
And
The true answer is communism.
Yeah.
well, I mean, would that be worse than hell? Or would hell be worse than the iron laws?
Hey, if you were to ask a capitalist,
Well, look at how that has gone for that country so far.
So
Look at how that's gone for the people, and look at what's happening.
I think it's just another thing we don't understand.
I think we should, ask
It's just another thing we don't understand.
his aunt.
Right.
She
So
will have a better insight.
I'm just saying. I think that there's options that we didn't necessarily consider before.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I should pull it.
So the next morning,
We talk all through the night.
So, you all come to those terms, and your minds abuzz with all the potential possibilities. And yes, indeed, it will be a tough choice. And the best you can do is to show up and try. You awake, just Selena really, the rest of you don't sleep. I've said this a million times, but I cannot help myself.
Can this be the time that we're all sitting like a triangle around Selena's
her.
sleeping form, just gazing down on her while she's sleeping?
Go away.
And you
Feel
may
creeper.
begin your journey to the port town of Angirod.
okay. Before we begin this journey, are we trying to heal you more now or later?
Look, we could end up in a fight on the road again. So, I vote now.
Okay. Don't teleport away from me this time.
No, do him first. Oh no,
She's got two. Calm down.
just touch
Is
him.
he still really squishy?
He is.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make him less squishy.
Roll d6.
Okay. Metal D6 to make
Metal
him
D
less
squish.
Squish. Roll a 1 this time, yeah?
Oh, for that one. I don't remember what I rolled for you.
No,
Oh,
you
no,
rolled a
there's a
1
one
for
you rolled a
him
one.
and a 5
Him was a
for
5
him.
and a 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. So 1 and a 2.
Oh boy.
Alrighty.
We're moving our way up. Does anything come up?
No.
Okay.
You feel any better?
Let me check.
Diagnostics running.
No.
Sorry.
Oh.
He's corrupted.
Alright. Your turn. Again.
You had 9.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
It's another 2. You even changed dice.
Your spine is still curved.
I don't think it
But
worked.
you've had 5, 4, 9, 11. You got
Should I write that down?
Yeah, you can.
Three.
Minus 11 on Sovellias, minus 3
Three.
on Justice.
Oh, Christ. That's a weird way to put this, but I will do it. Oh, there.
You're slowly killing them.
Yeah. She's just pumping the asbestos into our lungs. The lungs which I now have.
I'm a real boy.
Oh boy.
Okay.
That's the thing you said.
I am going to... so you all begin on the journey to Angirod, and you will arrive there without incident. I am going to go to the bathroom. Entertain our lovely people and say hi, people. Hi, Alvaron.
So,
Hey, people.
Because
Hello.
all of our friends are in chat, isn't it nice?
Oh, it's so great.
I think that's really cool. Is if you guys look down at the bottom of the page, there's a link to Dice Envy.
That's
if
right.
you click that link, you'll be able to buy dice, and it will help us out.
You
There
get a
is actually no
discount and we
discount.
get a little-
There's no discount.
Oh,
Sorry,
way
there's
to-
no discount.
Way to convey that.
We've been
to
saying
us
that the whole
really
time,
well.
but there's no
I
discount.
need to change the button because it literally says discount on it because that's what I was told it was.
I apologize. There's no discount.
You know what? But they have a
It's
really
an affiliate
cool...
link, so if you buy stuff from Dice Envy, which is already really great, then we get a little kickback, and it's nice.
And
so help
Click
you
on our
support
liar
us.
button.
Click on our live.
They're
M
awesome
loves
dice.
Dice Envy Dice.
They are beautiful.
Click the link. If you're going to buy them anyway, just click the link.
Listen, the
Helps us
garbage
out.
liars of Waterdeep are spilling over into Ghost of the
We're-
Machine.
So constructive information. 99-cent dice this month, I believe, are red with some gold numbers on them. They are gorgeous dice.
Did you say red and gold dice for 99
I
cents?
did.
Oh my
Holy
god.
mother!
I did.
Alberon RPG, thank you so much for all the gifted subs.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Holy.
Wow.
Thanks, Alberon.
That's crazy.
I don't understand what to do with this thing.
We just build some community instead.
Yeah, the sub. You can post awesome sub icons. That's what
Wow.
you do with this thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's really cool.
Oh,
Thank you.
Very sweet.
What are we gonna do with all these subs? I
So
can't
much.
hold all. I can't all these subs.
Wait, hold on, I can... Oh, come on, let me chat now. Ah! I have power!
Oh
You can do it now.
We've made a terrible
I'm
miscalculation.
gonna log in as the bot and do it.
Wow.
Thank
22
you
subs?
so much.
We are just 3 subscribers away from our next emote.
That's
our next
right.
tier.
That's right.
We
We get a new emote at 25 subs.
25.
So we have
Yep.
3 more to go. So just consider subscribing with Twitch Prime.
Oh my
Follow the
god.
stream if you're enjoying.
Hey, Salty's on too.
Salty, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
And welcome to the community, Alberon.
Thank you so much.
Rabbit have you. Check out our Discord.
Yep,
We can
join
chat
the Discord.
offline.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I got it. Or you got it. Never mind.
Let's go.
So, as the cart that you're on, I believe you all had a cart. Yeah, you had a cart because it went ass over tea kettle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It is hard to run.
Yeah.
So very, very hard.
Especially when you're as out of shape as me.
Haunts me every day. No, anyway.
That's when you're supposed to cough.
Yeah, I mean, a week before we've been on for a year, so this is awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary.
All right, Justice.
Was that on purpose?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I ran out of air. You come up over a slight hill before coming around, and as you do, based on your travel times, the daylight enters your vision. You're arriving basically at high noon in the middle of this day, and that you believe
I'm sorry,
that
we're it's what?
high
I
noon.
knew.
Not entertaining at all.
Knowing exactly what I'm doing, but like just not at
You
all.
leave the darkness of the wintry, cold region behind you and see the port town of Angirod. It is a nice city by Droskin standards. It is well organized. It is built with a grid system along this northern ocean, and you can see the water is eerily still. It's not choppy. It's not beating against the. It's just still. It's placid ocean front as you kind of crest over the hill and look down on Angirod. You can see all of the low-lying houses built with proper frames and proper structures, not having to have load-bearing walls or anything like that. They are well organized and they wear the style of this kind of brutalist architecture. Simple, organized, clean, done. And lots of apartment buildings. You imagine this town is probably home to some 20,000 people in the immediate vicinity. The streets are well maintained, and your cart crests slowly towards the town center.
Any idea where we were supposed to meet your aunt?
Hang on. I was doing a
believe just
thing
in
for
the
this.
town. I don't think she gave me a specific location.
Start launching fireballs into the sky. Summon her.
So I was going to unprepare Guardians of Nature and prepare Locate Creature.
Okay.
So
Also-
that we could find your...
While we were, heading out from breaking camp and all that, I would have, given us another little pep talk of sorts.
Okay.
But I would have gone on, we've been through an awful strange place recently, and we're all a little more loopy for it, right? So I would have started saying, "'Twas brilling, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabbay. Oh, Mimsy, where the Vara goes, and the mole rates out great. And continue on with the rest of Jabberwocky.
Wow. Content.
Hey.
Thanks for the 16 tip points.
Y'all gain 16 temporary hit points.
This Cheshire cat is not on my shirt for no reason.
No, it's certainly not.
You're welcome.
Matt, taking. I award you no points.
You're welcome.
I just like giving y'all a hard time. I enjoy inflicting pain on others.
Yeah.
So you make your way to the center of Angirod, kind of near the market square or what have you in the center town. The town is unremarkable in many ways. It's very plain, very simple, very organized. The most unusual thing about it is that although it is a port town, there's no like seagulls. There's just the stillest ocean you have ever seen in your life. Some boats, and you even see one of the fancier metal iron ships.
Do the boats seem to be generating any kind of wake in the water?
Roll perception.
I'm really good at this.
Hi, Chris.
12.
12. They do not seem to be generating any wake.
That's quite strange. It's like a sheet of glass. I feel like in 2 levels I could run across it.
Seems like a very specific statement.
Does it become
Produce
choppy
brain.
at some point?
Hmm?
Does it become choppy at some point the farther you look out?
You look on, doesn't seem to. Seems to be calm into the horizon.
Maybe this is a weird Droskin thing.
Might just be a calm day.
Do we ever get those?
That's not how the ocean works. But this is a magical place.
That's not how the ocean works. I was thinking the machine and the iron laws might have something to do with it, and wherever those stop, ocean begins. Yep.
It's probably stopping the casting of tidal wave.
You can see the kind of squat and ruffian people, the kind of frontier visage of the Droskin people that are in this city. They're giving you some looks. They're dressed in warm clothes. They've got their their hats and their flaps around their ears. And they're giving you a couple looks. You people are obviously marked as outsiders. So a few of you give you a closer inspection, look at the medallions, and just kind of give a pensive look and kind of waddle away.
I have Droskin winter wear. Thank you very much.
You do, but you are also a halfling.
How many halflings are there really in Droska? Any really?
You have not met that many.
Okay.
Or seen that many rather.
Do we need to use some kind of magic to locate your aunt, or should we
Probably.
walk around? Yelling her name? Could you use message or sending?
Listen, that could take a while. Sending would work, but message would take a while.
I can also locate a creature and or person I know the name of within 1,000 feet of me.
We might want to find just the nearest tavern or inn and send a message saying like, we're here.
How large is this port town?
20,000 people.
But
Small
like space-wise for locate creature kind of thing?
Oh, for locate creature, it's going to cover a fair bit of ground, but we're probably talking about again, I'm not the greatest with distances. I would say it runs the proper metropolitan area probably runs 3 to 6 miles across the coast, and then it kind of extends beyond. So compact, I guess.
So generally speaking, what I'm saying is like, if we started casting it like as we started entering the port city.
Yeah.
And then, it lasts for an hour, right?
Yeah.
Continue
You can
further.
cover a
Use it
lot of
as we
ground.
Make our way towards the center.
Oh yeah, you can cover a lot of ground.
If you're willing to do that, we could just try that.
That would work
That's
too.
why I suggested it.
Just pick her up above my head and just sprint.
That's not how it works. Oh my god. Wait till you get paid.
I won't clear the whole city.
Yelling, careful, dangerous halfling.
Yikes.
Wow.
No? Okay. So, describe or name a creature that is familiar to you. So you were going to have to describe her really, really well.
Yes.
Please do.
Tell me about her.
So, as I described before, she's about my height, a little bit shorter. She has Well, last time I saw her, she had long braided hair. Lots of earth totems and medallions. I believe, didn't she have like a stone gauntlet or something? Stone pauldrons?
She did. She had a lot of different stone accoutrement and magic items. She was a very talented maker, crafter.
Okay.
Elf, obviously.
My God. Jesus Christ. I may never let you heal from the void.
He's painting a tapestry with his words. This is the equivalent of a stick figure. Put the sharp ears on it.
Elf.
Elf with lots of rocks.
Rock elf.
And her full name.
Anastasia? I know. Right?
That would be your last
Anastasia, Anicia.
Anicia Anastasia.
Anastasia.
I love your little journal.
It's pretty great.
Rob, show them your journal, Rob. Rob is very cute with his little journal.
Hired. Shouting at you. Show them, Rob.
I have all my magic circles in here.
Quit it.
It's pretty great.
We're putting on a show here. There are other
Are we?
streamers in the chat. You're embarrassing me.
You're embarrassing
Is
me
this
in
a
front
show?
of the wizard.
You're embarrassing me in front of legendary action. Embarrassing me in front of the wizards.
Yeah, literally, you see wizards of the
This
coast.
is
Jeremy
why-
Crawford.
Yeah.
This is exactly why he cheats on us in the middle of stream.
That's right. I long for Legends of the Vampires.
Have a good time.
Anyway.
So he is actually able to give a pretty reasonable description. Go ahead and cast your spell. Alrighty, you're able to walk around for quite some time, and you. Let's do it this way: north or south?
So where does the road come into town?
Sorry, actually, east. I meant to say east or west. I'm an idiot. So you enter in from the south, and so when you go north, so this is a drop. You're here on. So Droska's like a big old circle. You're up here, the very tippy top. So north is to the ocean, south is the way you came. So east or west is where the length of the city runs.
Got it. And the port is
North.
to.
Give me your directional dice.
So, east or west, since we're in the middle. I have a coin.
Somebody had a directional dice.
I just rolled it. It
Duckheads.
said east, northeast.
So
Then-
duck heads or horse
East.
butts.
You have flying horse.
I do have a flying horse duck coin. So ducks or horses?
Well, you have to determine which one is which.
The duck is
Okay.
east.
The duck.
Okay.
We're in rare form tonight, y'all.
Like, this is
Why am I
insanity. What is this?
Be the duck. Fuck it,
No.
the horse's ass.
So,
I'm
that tracks
Which
for the
is
evening.
appropriate.
On brand.
Thank you.
On brand. We are the horse's ass.
We're going west, folks.
Going west.
Alrighty.
I have a directional dice.
If it's 6 miles across, I can run 6 miles in less than an hour. We'll be fine.
So you eventually get the ping, ping, ping of the spell after you travel out the outskirts of town, and there you come up on this little bit of hill, and you see Anicia's house. What does it look like, Rob?
Hey.
So it's a
We got lucky.
It's a smaller house. Definitely less ostentatious as anything I would be seen in.
Huh.
What is it made out of?
Stone?
Stone,
Gee,
rocks.
I'm surprised.
Should I not show up as the
No,
big
stone.
bad wolf?
mean-
Outside, there's a couple small gardens. There's a walkway going up to the front of the house that's paved. Little stone totems and accoutrements. You see off to the side, there's a small blacksmithing hut, and she can work her craft. She's quite the crafter. Just a quaint little cottage. Very unassuming.
Stone garden.
Alright, you all stand about, you stand at the road there, and you look up on this nice, quaint little stone cottage with the blacksmithing and all the things that he just described. What do you wish to do?
Sovellias?
I will. Yeah. Looking like this, hopefully she'll recognize me for the most part.
Oh, want to use prestidigitation real quick to help, like, clean him up from the road.
I mean, I don't think President is going to fix a crooked spine.
I didn't say I was trying to fix your spine with prestidigitation, thank you. I just said clean you up from the road, not the void.
Now that we've found your aunt, do you want me to try to heal you one more time?
No, it's
No.
fine.
Okay.
So I'll take off the mask, put on my side, pull back my hood, and I'll walk up to the door. And
Could you repeat what you just said? How you're looking on you?
so I take off the mask,
Yes.
and then I pull back the hood.
Okay.
And then I'll go up to the door and knock.
There's a brief pause. Stone door opens. Hello?
And you see it?
Sophelius. You just hear a voice, you don't really see someone.
Yes.
Is that you?
It is, as much as I'm left here.
You see a kind of motion dark from the darkness. Who are you with?
I'm traveling with some compatriots. They can be trusted. They've been with me for quite some time.
Go and roll persuasion.
Uh, 19.
All right. Come in. And the door opens further. You see from the darkness, someone skitter away.
Before we go in, I'm just gonna tap Selena and enhance her wisdom.
Okay.
I will go in after Sovellias. I'll let him go in first.
Alrighty.
Please tell me she's skittered on all fours.
You enter the cottage one by one. It is a dimly lit cottage, and in the interior matches much of what Rob described on the outside. It's a quaint little cottage with lots of stone fixtures and furniture and counterware, but it has cushions and things like that. It is comfortable, but not welcoming. As you all stand in the kind of foyer, you see to the right, you see the kind of sitting room, living room, probably an all-purpose room kind of thing. To the left, looks out to the window in the hill to the rest of the city that lies over there. And there's like a nice little bay window and a sitting area, a little coffee area. You can see into the kitchen. And past you, just in front of you, this is all open floor. You see there's like a bookshelves and a kind of study or reading area. And she seems to be standing behind the bookshelves, kind of between them. These books, these tomes, are heavy and thick. Some of them are made of rock. Some of them are actually just stone tablets that are slapped up against one another and have all sorts of arcane writing and writ on them. And you can see this feminine figure, who's actually a little bit shorter than Sovellias, kind of looking out from behind the bookshelves. Why have you come here?
I mean, I haven't seen any living family members for quite some time.
Very good caveat. Alexa says out of character, sorry. Shutting up.
I've been alive for centuries. Why now?
I haven't been able to book passage to Jaska, and just until recently, I was in a very dark place. Then recently, I was in a dark place, and now I'm here.
You see a kind of scowl from behind the bookshelf. You guys can only see parts of her figure. She kind of leans down. Who are your friends?
If you come out, I can introduce you.
No.
All right. You want to introduce yourselves?
So my locate creature person, this is her right in
Yep.
front of me, or it's not pinging elsewhere? This isn't an illusion?
She's pinging right there. She's standing right there.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Gilly. Gilly, I'm Shay.
You see an eye dart low on the bookshelf and then kind of stand back up and look over to you.
I am Justice.
I know, it's really on the nose.
Selena, nice to meet you.
We've been traveling with your nephew for several months now.
Why?
Well, it started as a job. But it became more than that.
Hired by whom?
Sovellias.
That was offered to accompany my father's blade by the Countess.
It was found. I'm not sure how much you've heard.
I don't read the paper.
Well, the blade was found.
Stolen by the Gish.
Right.
And paraded around. And then we were removed from guarding it. And they took it.
Insight.
On who?
Her.
Roll insight.
Advantage.
I know.
Yeah.
That one is between. Okay. 16.
You can't really see any of her features. She seems skittish. She seems a little afraid. She says, which countess?
Of Evermere.
That must be one of those new counties. Special divisions. I'm not familiar.
It's to the north of Gishar.
So I'm gonna move so that we're not so that I'm not between her and the door.
What?
So that if she wants to escape, she can.
Okay.
And why are you fearful?
I don't get a lot of visitors anymore. Not sure if you're real. Still making sure.
How can we prove?
I don't think you can. Illusions lie all the time. Memories lie all the time.
I'll pull out one of my daggers and prick my palm. Do illusions bleed?
No.
I'll find somewhere to sit. And I'll just say, you can come touch my hand. If I'm an illusion, you won't be able to feel anything.
That's all right. I don't care for your illusions. Just
Okay.
not. Just taking every precaution.
That's fair.
And wise.
Why have you come here, Sovellias? Other than to visit me, because you haven't seen me in so long.
We seek your advice.
Regarding?
Well, first off, I'm afflicted by a bit of a condition right now. Didn't know if you knew any healers within the town, but if you don't get out much, I don't know how many connections you have here.
I don't have any connections. I just have me.
It's understandable.
You certainly don't look the same.
I know. It's quite some time.
You see her kind of pick up a quick eye and kind of dip it, look over to you. That model's broken.
He is.
You're both sick.
We are. But as far as I know, it's not contagious.
Indeed.
What else?
We haven't gotten to meet much of Sovellias' family. Unfortunately, those that we have been less than trustworthy.
Well,
So,
and maybe less than alive.
Who have you met? We're all dead.
Yes, that is
That's not wrong.
true.
is she dead? Can I insight?
She means like everyone but these two are dead.
Oh, okay. She said we, like she was also dead. I'm like, oh no.
I think she just meant we as the Anastasias.
That's fine. Just
So
clarifying.
Kalaza was
Dead.
is yes, technically dead, but was resurrected
Well,
into undeath.
I believe the technical term is a lich.
Correct. She's in Fort Mountain Hall. And then we met some ancestors in the void, but I don't even know if they were lying or not.
You see her put like 2 fingers behind the butt. She kind of lowers her head. Okay, they're dead. Okay. But why are you here?
I mean,
I believe that there is a matter of grave importance.
well, I mean, let's start from the beginning. Are you not happy to see him?
Well, I am experiencing feelings that he's here. Yes.
Are they more negative or positive? Would you say?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's definitely very exciting that he's here.
Lot to process, I'm sure.
He traveled all this long way after 200 years.
I did.
I think Sovellias fell down a dark road for a while.
I did. After the wars. The first wars. Not this recent war. But I'm sure you understand.
I moved here to be left alone. I'm happy that you're alive. But I moved here to be left alone.
Would you like us to leave?
I mean, you traveled all this way. I suppose I could give you some tea.
Is she also afflicted by something, or just loneliness and hermitage?
Looks like loneliness and hermitage. You see, she kind of steps out from behind the bookcase very slowly, looks at all of you. Okay. I'll make tea. She goes over to the kitchen and begins making tea.
Would you like any help?
No. Haven't had anyone in this kitchen for a long time. Don't need to start now.
Okay.
How are the windows in the house?
Clean.
I will stand by whatever would count as the front window and basically keep watch, make sure we weren't followed.
Okay. So after a few minutes, the tea kettle's on, and there's like a plate of biscuits, cookies, and such. She sets it down in the sitting room on the table. She pours everyone a little cup of tea.
Does she use stoneware?
Yeah, of course. She sits on her sitting chair and has you all kind of around. Sovellias sits on the sitting chair opposite, and the rest of you sit on the sofa. She picks up her little teacup. How do you like Joska?
It's different. Definitely a little bit colder than Gishar, but people are friendly.
I tend not to go outside.
It's probably for the best.
Keep the fire on.
Cold. Yeah, we haven't been in Droska for very long, a couple of days, but it's a good country.
The local minister gave me a heads up that you were coming. When I got the sending, I assumed it was true, but it's difficult to believe. I still have a lot of enemies.
Any in the Droskan government or just Gishar?
No, just Gish, but They do. They have spies, and they try to infiltrate, and there's plots. And I just keep to myself. It's easier that way. No friends that can't betray you. No friends that can't betray you.
True, but sometimes it's good to have friends to have your back.
I have friends that have my back. But they're not friends. They're not friends. I have creatures that have my back. Creatures that have my back.
Makes sense.
If you summon them, you control them.
So,
Do they ever get away from you?
Oh, once or twice. Chaotic creatures.
What's the name of the one that we met?
Ever summon a Dao?
No.
Just
No.
just native to the area?
Yes, unfortunately. That's why I settled here. It's
Right.
the tremor in the ground helps me sleep.
It is soothing.
They're more organized as you get closer to the city.
They are. I try to keep them in line.
How long have you been living in Droska?
200 years.
Do you find it to be a just country?
A just country? A just country?
Fair. For its citizens.
Yes. Everyone has bread. Everyone has a home. We all live. When I first fled, it wasn't like this. It was different. I fled there just to flee there. It was just what I knew. I had come here for some teachings and some magics and practices. It was ruled by the Demirs then. They were not good. They were not decent. But some 70 years ago, things changed. The Iron Authority came around, fixed up the place, got better.
And what do you know of this Iron Authority? We are relatively unfamiliar with what it even is, how it works.
They are a committee of the people that they are a government authority that rule the country, through their different ministers and elected zemstras and committees and subcommittees. They are the ruling body. They killed the Demir Emperor and all of the royal family and aligned the disparate, republics that were around in the area and formed the Iron Authority. That's what they are. They're the authority. They have the eternal chairman that is kind of honorific position. He died, Nikolai. There is an existing chairman, although I don't know their name. And there are the various subcommittees and committees that help rule the country.
And do you know how they're able to keep its people safe? Protected?
Through the Iron Laws?
Right.
I don't know how they pulled that one off. I do remember when it happened. The Demirs, they were vampires, but they were sorcerers. They were humans who made themselves vampires, they say. That's the rumor. Blood magic. And they would rule with this magic. Blood puppets and blood worms and mind magics. And they would rule through fear and terror and espionage and all the likes. And, when the Praetorians started kind of assembling in the southern reaches, they were the first ones. And then, the magic just started fading. The Demirs, the local ministers and local nobles, they started losing their magic, their access to magic. And the Praetorians advanced. And a protracted war happened. The Demirs won the first time around. And then years later, there were, through lots of hardships and the loss of magics and the loss of blood warehouses, there was a revolution and bam, overnight, no magic. The Iron Authority ruled. Pretty much happened in like a month.
wow.
And the implementation of the Iron Laws.
That started during the first war. There were rumors, and slowly but surely, more people started to lose their magic. And then once they killed the Demir royal family, the Iron Laws were established, and magic was gone. Magic was gone.
How would Gashari change under these laws?
You can't do magic. You can't do magic. You have to. There are permits. There are law. There are. You have to be taught. You have to have permission. You have to be licensed.
Culturally, for the better?
I don't know. I don't know. Depends. Depends. Would definitely be slower. Definitely be slower. The Iron Authority, I think they are good. I think they try. Well, I think they've done good things. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to think about.
Is it a conscious choice that people stopped having their magic?
I believe it was, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does it seem similar to you in the ways that the arresting light sort of changed magic for the material plane?
I wasn't quite alive back then.
Right, I know.
But from the histories, similar.
Because that fundamentally changed the way magic worked.
It did.
I mean, it seems to me a little bit like a modified and more contained version.
It's possible.
It's interesting.
Why is it that you are all so curious about the arresting light and the Iron Laws? Is there something happening in Gishari?
Arresting light's fading.
Fading?
Yeah. Sooner rather than later, it won't hold back the void.
Okay.
The ambassador seemed relatively unperturbed. Seemed to be under the impression that the Iron Laws would protect Droska while the rest of the world was consumed.
The Iron Authority is very confident in their power. Very confident.
Could this confidence be misplaced?
Sure. It's, you can see her kind of jittering a little bit more. You know, a lot of us are confident, a lot of different reasons, and, well, there's such a thing as overconfidence.
Suppose I do not know how much you wish to share with your aunt.
I didn't come here just to see you. We came because there is then 13 days now. There'll be the blood moon, and they plan on resurrecting a general affair using our family's heirloom in Gishari, in the capital. We came seeking allies and help and power.
And alternatives.
Definitely alternatives.
See, she kind of slows down a little bit. She looks up. They're trying to summon a general of hell.
Yes.
Using the blade of the vizier.
They are.
Well, that is tough. That is unfortunate.
There if we were to fail, you might be the last surviving member of our family.
Oh, for sure. You're going to try to stop them?
Yes, we have to.
See, she starts to laugh. We've been down that road before, Sovellias. It wasn't a general pell, but we've tried to stop them before.
I know. But somebody has to try.
Our power's failing them. And they're getting desperate.
They were desperate then?
Yep.
That's when the Drake came. Minister Robbins.
Yes. He is one of the party leading this as well.
Of course he is. So you're just going to what? March into the capital? Take on Minister Robbins? The Grand Presider?
I mean, we're not the smartest bunch, but we're not that. Like,
I mean, she's not wrong.
We have been amassing allies who are like-minded and who are more powerful than us.
We have to do something.
Otherwise, the Resting Light will be replaced with the power of hell, and it will be subjugation. Elsewise, the void consumes the rest of the world.
and if, we think the suffering is bad now for the majority of people in Gishari, it's only going to get worse.
Which is why we were asking so many questions about the Iron Authority.
They could probably help.
We just want to understand the cost of that. But even so, like, even if there's no good way out of this situation, like, we have to do something. We can't just sit aside. I mean, the lands we fought for 200 years ago, they're going to raise them to the ground with hellfire.
I know. Oh, sorry.
We did fight for them, Sovellias. We did try. As I remember it, they unleashed a plague. That pretty much wiped out all the elves.
Yes.
And then there was a war. The war kept going. And there was a big, big showdown. When it all was said and done, all the elves were dead. But a couple new kingdoms were established. Fiefdoms, right? Mostly human. But then the halflings got their piece. The gnomes got their piece. And even eventually the dwarves got theirs. The elves were left alone, weren't they? That's what you were paid for your efforts.
Yes.
And the humans all stood by and watched it happen. So you're going to go now, turn around, and try to rescue these people from the bed they made themselves. Why?
I'm not rescuing those people.
Who are you rescuing?
The remaining elves? The people who are not complicit?
Build an exodus. Let's get them out of there.
Exodus to where?
Troska. Let empires fall all the time. Leave them behind. Let them reap what they've sown. You don't owe them anything.
Not once is that occurred to us. Flee with those we care about.
I mean, I highly doubt if we let things come to pass that the armies of hell will stay on their continent.
Well, they're not going to march across the ocean, or so we've been told.
So we've been told. But when is anything that we've been told held up?
Slight land bridge. There's a slight land bridge.
There's still good people out there.
I mean, where's the proverbial Alaska, right?
You're about in it.
I will say that you said that these wars were fought 200 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There are many people who are alive today who had no part in those wars. And while they might be human, halflings, gnomes, they suffer under the rule of the Gish unjustly. Leaving would be to condemn all of them to death for the sins of their forefathers or the select few that are in power.
Not to mention, the Warforged didn't even exist before.
Indeed.
When all of that went down. They do now. And they would be forever changed and subjugated by what would happen.
I mean...
And I would not see my people become instruments of hell.
She has a point. If we talk to the ambassador...
They'll still have hell forges.
But if we talk to the ambassador and we could set up a magic circle here or use one that's existing, we could move everyone that needed moved, or as many as we could, and that's move a lot of people in 2 weeks.
It's hard to ask people to leave their home. Even...
And the logistics of that would be insanity. We would move millions of people in 13 days.
I mean...
We cannot cross the continent in 13 days.
But it's possible. Between magic communication, it is possible, and a Voragash can't have his full power. I'll tap my hip.
The elves and others cannot run again. We ran once from our homeland.
It's called...
And we lost it.
It's called recollecting.
We can't just keep recollecting.
But if we
over
let
and over
Hell
again.
take out the Gish, and then we...
And then who's going to take out Hell? They'll grow too powerful.
And I don't know if you were paying attention, Hell would not be taking out the Gish. The grand leadership of the Gish would be using the power of Hell to subjugate the continent.
And that part of the material plane would be forever changed as we know it.
I'm just
right?
saying, it's another possibility. We've now got 3.
Before we get down too far into this road, I know it's a lot of questions and a lot of nonsense, but is there anything you can tell us of the Great Machine? How it works, how it keeps the void at bay, any of that?
As far as I know what pretty much everyone else knows. There was some kind of... the Great Machine has always existed in one way or the other. Marissa used it to channel the power of the Arresting Light. It's rumored to be one of the mechanisms, if not the mechanism, that holds the Arresting Light.
How is the Blade of the Vizier connected into that, then?
It's not quite. It's just a very powerful artifact. It holds the knowledge of all the Viziri kings that have lived for thousands of years. It houses the collective consciousness of all the Anastassian Viziers. So it is just very, very powerful.
You're like the elf avatar.
Pretty much. It's very, 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 very potent. That's all.
Blood Raven.
I'm sorry that I can't be of more assistance, but I fought that war. I lost everything. That Drake is still alive.
You're not the only one who's lost hope. Some have only just recently refound it.
I don't think anyone really understands what it's like to fight the Red Dragon. I mean both Rabas and Gishari. There's no strategy they won't use.
I'm fully aware of that.
There's no tactic that's beneath them. And their power, collectively, is beyond all reckoning. They killed the greatest wizard that's ever lived on the material plane, Federicio Anastasia. They cursed him. You won't win. You'll lose everything.
If I don't do anything, I'll lose everything anyways.
And you'll do it for people who despise you.
I'll do it for those that need protecting. If you're unable to help in any way or give us advice, then please stay here out of danger. I don't want to lose the last of my family.
I think I will stay here out of danger. It's time for you all to leave.
I've been watching at the window. Anything weird?
Nah.
Thank you for the offer of tea and for the hospitality. It was nice to meet an Anastasia that did not try to kill us.
No. You're always welcome here. As long as you're as you are.
It's good to see you again. Hopefully this won't be the last time. Then I'll leave.
Do we have your permission to update you on anything that happens? Do you want to know?
Weird thing about the sending spell. Not really. There's no voicemail for it. It just happens.
Well, I mean, it can't get in here from outside Draska.
That's nice. But I appreciate you asking. Sure. Send me whatever you would like. Letters, pigeons, sending if you can manage it. I don't mind hearing the news. I just don't read it myself.
And if you would like to speak to Sovellias again, we might be able to do that as well. Might be a little unorthodox. Might freak you out the first time it happens.
I'm gonna invade your dreams.
I can always talk to him if I want to. I just chose not to.
He missed having family.
Good day, Mrs. Anastasia. Justice will leave.
She looks at Sovellias.
Oh, I left.
Okay. She'll just turn to anyone who's there. She's like, he's really the only one living anymore. Take care of him. Goodbye.
We're trying.
Time to
Can I
find
leave?
Scout?
Yeah, my god.
Next week on, what was it? Trauma and Tears. Instead of Dungeons and
Just
Dragons.
repeatedly, thank you, Salty, for subscribing for 8 months. Just repeatedly kicked in the dick.
This is 9/17.
Yes. As you all step out of the cottage and kind of filled with disappointment and trauma, we are going to go to break.
Yeah! Best time!
But we're best in the machine at that trauma.
Cool.
Yeah. Alrighty. So thank you all for who subscribed. Thank you, Legendary Action Official, for hanging out. Alberon RPG, thank you for the subs.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Thank you everyone who is around. We will pick back up in about 15 minutes, which we have sugar cookies. And yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, follow, subscribe. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, folks. Don't miss it.
Sounds great.
We are back. We have enjoyed our sugar cookies.
I had 4.
I might still be my
Plus
one
the
sugar
2 you
cookie.
had earlier.
No, that's including the 2 I had
Oh,
earlier.
okay.
He does do that. He'll like, I have 5. And it's like, what about the other 5 you have?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh right, I'm a real life raccoon.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he's not eating bag cake on stream. Or cake bag?
I mean,
bag cake.
That's
bag
what we're
cake.
gonna do when we reach 25
Cake.
subscribers.
Cake
It's cake from his cake bag.
Yeah, that's the technical term. Cake from the cake bag.
And at 25 subscribers, you can get that story.
Oh
Live
my
on
gosh!
stream.
If we get to 25 subscribers, I will eat cake from the
No,
cake
oh
bag
no.
live on stream.
No.
We have 3 subscribers away, folks. Consider subscribing with Twitch Prime.
The emote will be good, I promise. It's already made.
It's just cake.
Alright, so we pick back up with there in Droska, which is not the country that is featured on that map there. That's just a placeholder for now because of tech edition. Anyway. Fixed. Solved.
You know what? If we didn't say anything, no one would have noticed.
That's true, but
Yeah.
my integrity. My world.
Man,
You have integrity?
man, let's face it, no one's paying attention.
These are just the prison bars.
Yeah. So y'all are outside of Sovellias' aunt's cottage, and you have just been, gently rebuffed. And what do you wish to do?
Well, I will say, well, that could have gone worse.
Yeah, she could have attacked us like the last time Astasia's had.
Indeed, and attempted to murder us.
So,
It seemed that she was able to get past her previous experiences.
or was she? I think it's the exact opposite of that.
Anyway, we should stop wasting time and head out. I don't know. Are we taking an airship or are we getting a boat to go?
Hey, hang on.
I think Scow is here.
Oh, that's right. We need to
Checking
find
in with your
Scout.
aunt
Sorry,
is not wasting time.
I mean,
We know more
I'm-
now than we did before.
I never meant that it was checking in with her was wasting time. I meant sitting around here.
We've
We can-
literally been outside for like a minute.
We can walk and talk. That will satisfy
Very well.
all. Is there anything else that we need to achieve while here? Or shall we just simply be on our way?
I mean, here's the thing. If we're seriously considering the Iron Laws as an alternative, leaving here means we have no more chance to like explore any of that. We could, thanks, great. We could talk to the locals a little bit if we wanted. We're here now. If we have questions that we need answered for any of that, we could talk to people who know a bit more.
So she specifically said that the local clergyman told her you were here or coming?
Minister isn't a government minister.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Close enough.
Yes.
The separation of church and state is not a thing anywhere in this world, man.
There is no religion in Droska.
Oh, we've learned a new thing.
Only government.
Yeah.
As it should
So,
be.
the local minister told her you were coming, or you were in town. So, I mean, that's a connection, and we know that'll get back to the Iron Ambassador, who appears to be an ally for now. So if we want to ask more questions, who better to ask than someone in the government, of the government, for the government, who really wants the Iron Laws to be expanded.
And who might give us faulty information because they want the Iron Laws to be expanded.
I don't think that's how Droska works, but we have that perspective. We can at least look at it that way.
Which is why I'm saying we could talk to some locals, some people who are not, you know.
We could talk to the everyman. And woman. And person.
Right.
I mean, at least from my experience in Gish, people don't care as long as it doesn't disrupt their life.
Well, the thing is, when we talked to some of the people in, you know, Hogna Heights and Lower Hogna, they don't have it so great. And they know that, and they can see that they have nothing compared to the people at the top. And they understand, at least to a decent degree,
how much they're exploited, right? How much they don't get to benefit from the things that they do. Here, we could try to get some of the same information.
Indeed, perspective is important.
We could talk to some of the, I'm trying to look for a diplomatic term. My brain is a little
Community
fried.
leaders that aren't necessarily in the government.
That, and
That would
also more of like the lowliest of the low, right? Where's the Hogna Heights of this port town? Is
You're in
it
it.
the entire port town?
It's the shittiest dive bar.
There are no slums in Angirod. There are no slums in Droska, in theory. It's all the same.
So far what we've seen is things are a bit more on the equal level. People aren't necessarily overflowing with wealth or anything, or extremely comfortable. We don't see the extremes that we saw in Gishari, but we also don't see, like, everybody seems comfortably living.
Everyone's
So far.
fed, everyone has a roof over their head. That's what we keep hearing.
And I would say the most extreme that we saw was on the edge of the frontier,
Right.
and that
Where?
even just seemed to be what? Neglect?
Well, so the biggest thing that your aunt said that would be different is things would move much slower, right? I think because magic would be fundamentally different. The airships wouldn't be a thing necessarily. Probably the trains,
Regulated motorcycle.
the teleportation circles, all that stuff would have to be very different, I think.
It would.
Which means that travel becomes much different. The ability to defend oneself becomes much different, and so that's how they. And I mean, that would be, as I understand it, limited understanding as I have, why that Tao is able to threaten so many people, right? Because they don't have access to magics or other powerful means to protect themselves.
So, and as we go into questioning whomever's willing to talk to a bunch of weirdo outsiders, one of the things that I'm gonna blank on his name from the Christmas town, the big bear guy with all the potatoes.
Ivan?
Is his name Ivan?
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, I can check my notes.
That's it.
But what Ivan said more than once is the power of the Iron Laws come from the people.
It's Dimitri.
Yep.
Ivan. Dimitri.
Not the same,
Ivan was his
as
middle
it
name.
turns out.
Dimitri
The big bear
Ivan.
man with all the potatoes. He said that the Iron Laws are powered by the people who accept them. So, if the people in Gish do not accept it, those Iron Laws will not reign. And that is a thing that we have to consider. We can offer the Iron Laws, but that does not mean that the people will accept them.
It's not our decision to make whether they
Well-
accept it or not.
One thought that comes into mind is if we were to form some kind of alliance with them, perhaps if when we disrupt the blood moon in 13 days, there's something that they could do.
What do you mean?
We're talking about
Temporarily putting the Iron Laws in place?
or something. As a half-formed thought, I was thinking if the power of hell does not come in and hold it back, perhaps the Iron Laws would. I do not know if that is an advisable position. I'm at a loss.
You mean the void?
I'm saying replacing the
Hold it
arresting
back.
light. Replacing the arresting light that is failing. Instead of replacing it with the power of hell, perhaps replacing it with the power of the Iron Laws.
Well,
Temporarily.
Here's the thing, though, right? The prime material plane doesn't just consist of Gishari. It doesn't just consist of Droska.
Indeed.
The arresting
Apgar.
light doesn't just protect those two countries either.
Protects the world.
The Iron Laws protect Droska, but the arresting light so far has protected this entire plane.
That
And
is
whatever they're going to do, they're trying to bolster the same power that's protecting the entire plane. So the more I think about it, even if we instill the Iron Laws in Gishari,
It would simply help Gishari.
right, because those laws only expand out as far as,
Correct. I think those are two different things.
yeah.
Replacing the arresting light is one thing, and we could see about replacing it with the power of the machine or whatever. But implementing the Iron Laws in Gishari after we've overthrown the government and whatnot, that's a whole different thing. I don't think we have to worry about right now.
Well, I'd been sort of thinking of the Iron Laws as a, instead of this whole hell-infused thing, but actually the hell-infused thing, based on what we've poured over the document, question for the DM.
Yeah.
Based on what we poured over on the document, the documents that we looked at last night, is what they're doing, is this whole like ritual and everything, is that just going to protect Gishari, or is it going to like change the arresting light for the entire material plane?
Right, that's the big question. So I would say, based on what you reviewed, it's definitely going to protect Gishari. The arresting light is a massive thing. It's failing all over. This might just be a stop measure to protect the Western continent. And we'll let the rest of the world burn.
Goodbye, Silwyn and his town.
Halfgar would be doomed.
So our ultimate problem, and the thing that we keep on returning to, is if we prevent all of this, we need to find some suitable replacement for the arresting light. And we're unsure if that will protect everyone or just Gishari.
The more important thing we can take away from that is there are more players invested in finding a solution than just people from Gishari.
Indeed, perhaps they're more invested. They would be more invested.
Or at least we would assume so. We haven't talked to anybody from anywhere else.
We talked to the people on Halfgar.
Right, but I mean like Karkoth and Cardoon and, you know, anywhere in, you know, Delmaria and Athadia and the
Eastern Free States.
Eastern Free States. I knew it was Free States of something.
The Durfan Archipelago, Junoir, Aquara, Poi.
There are many places, yes, but do we know anyone of power there?
We're headed next
That's
to...
kind of what I'm saying. Like, we have 13 days until this particular issue becomes irreversible or you know, unchangeable, comes to pass. We have 13 days to deal with that. But the arresting light as a whole, so long as it remains unchanged by the powers of hell at that time, I mean, we could start talking to other people. We could start reaching out diplomatically and try to find some sort of bigger solution.
We're going to, Athadia next, right?
That's the idea.
then you'll get your chance to talk to somebody. I'm not sure it's the right somebody, but talk to somebody. So, are we talking to some locals here?
We can.
Maybe we can fast track it.
Will it kill us to spend an hour just trying to talk to a few people?
Or maybe we spend like a couple hours and meet up with Scout. We could even just fast track it if that's what's more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you wish to do?
Canvas and maybe talk to some of the locals and get a feel for like trying to even find what would seem to be the lowliest amongst them, and try to get a feel for their opinions of how things are run.
Things they would.
Yeah, like is there like a
Things they would want changed.
Okay.
Things, you know.
What kind of establishment would you like to visit?
I would look to, is there any like what would you call an equivalent of a homeless person on the street?
No, there are no
No
homeless
immigrants?
people in Droska.
Is there a bookstore?
Sure.
Has it been an hour since we stepped into Anicia's house?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to find a bookstore, or do I just find a bookstore?
You can just find a bookstore. You can find an inn. You can find any kind of local establishment you want. You guys are trolling the town.
We can 2 for 1. We can talk to a bookkeeper. Get your
Perhaps.
book.
That is a good idea. We'll just do that. Perhaps the bookkeeper will be learned.
I've never met a rich bookkeeper. They always seem to be more interested in paper than money.
Paper is expensive.
Yeah, but it's the knowledge the paper holds usually.
That's fine.
What about that librarian fella that got murdered when we tried to deal with that tower? Was he not rich?
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
think he had money. He had power.
Doesn't matter.
So you were able to find a
Just
nice
say,
little bookstore or library or whatever have you, and there is kind of a little old guy behind the counter who seems to run the place, and he speaks to you and says, "Oh, how can I help you?"
Do we want to role play us asking all those questions?
Yep.
Okay. Didn't know if that's what you want to do or not. Hello.
It's spreading.
We are we are somewhat new to Droska and had a few questions for you.
Oh, well, welcome to Droska. You do appear to be new. You are not one of the Droskan models. What kind of questions did you have?
Well, first, I would like to purchase a souvenir for a friend of mine. Perhaps if you have anything on Droska's history.
Oh,
Or-
sure. We have some different little pieces. I've got the history of the Damir. I've got the thoughts on revolution. I've got this novel here. You say souvenir for a friend?
Yes, she is quite knowledgeable, quite learned. They. Thank you.
Kind of moves around. Here, how about these 3? Good smattering. It helps.
Thank you. And do you have anything that maybe is more esoteric?
Oh, yes. Moves to the back, pulls out a kind of thick tome. Comparative economic developments in Gashari and Droska for the common person. The years are 1330 to 1339.
Thank you. How much?
For all those, 2 gold. Thank you.
We did have some questions for you. Your experience living in Droska.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about living here, about the way things are operated, ran, what would that be?
What would I change if I could change one thing about Droska? That's a good question. Well, I don't like the wreckers, It's not what I'm about. Don't like the wreckers.
What is a wrecker?
Wreckers are people who throw wrenches in the system and not problems. They create problems. They throw wrenches They disrupt the work. They throw wrenches and they wreck the places of work.
And these are government officials.
No. They are non-government officials. They are rogues. They are upstarts.
And what is the wrecker's ultimate objective?
To change the way our society is from how it is now to be more like other places.
Capitalists.
I did notice that you took 2 gold for my books. Didn't just exchange good looks and handshake. I'm kidding. So you are happy with the way things are ran?
Yes. I've been alive for some time. I remember the Damirs. I was a child, yes, but and I remember the olden days. I remember when the food was short. I remember when you could not walk down the street and feel safe. It is different now, though we have our difficulties.
And things are better now?
Yes, immeasurably. We do not have, we do not have the silks, we do not have the palaces or anything. That was all gone. And sometimes, the food gets a little short, but we all eat, and we all have homes. I have grandchildren, I have granddaughter, I know they'd be okay. They get to go to school, they get to develop their talents, they get to do what they want to do. They all contribute.
Is there ever any rumor of corruption within the government? People living beyond their means? Or...
Oh yes. We call them vampires, or Damarites. Damarites.
Are they literal vampires or vampires on society?
No. There is nothing lower than a vampire. That's why we call them vampires.
Because they leech off the society.
Yes.
And would you say that the government is aggressive about rooting out the vampires, or are they?
Oh yes. There's nothing more the committee or the authority hate than vampires and Damarites.
Were there any questions that you had, friends?
Are there any good books?
All the books here are good. I curate a fine selection.
They're all good books, Alona. Never mind, sorry.
They're all good books.
It's a meme.
Yeah,
it's a
they're
meme.
all good dogs.
They're all good dogs. Bront.
Bront. Yeah.
I'll
The
show you
internet's a
later.
weird place, guys. No, are there any books that would catch Selena's attention?
Sure. What kind of book would catch Selena's attention?
I don't know.
Okay.
You just got Aura back, so maybe some Karma Sutra?
You're assuming I don't already have those.
I mean, Droskin Karma Sutra? The Iron Fortress?
How to get locked up tight.
An Iron Authority Droska, dog downward you.
No. That's
Could use
gonna
some
move
workshopping on
along.
that.
You and Gilly wanted to talk to normal people.
Awesome.
If that's it.
I hope this satisfies your curiosity. I know things are different here. I know they're not so, it's different elsewhere. But here we make them. Hard choices have to be made.
And what about things like getting around to different places in Droska, or travel seems pretty dangerous.
Especially here in the frontier, yes. We have the boats, to kind of go from coast to coast, port to port. There is the train that is supposed to come this way eventually, but it's not made it all the way up here yet. But they are laying tracks and they are building. You go farther west, you're very far north here. You go farther west, there's more trains and stuff.
Right. But overall, overall you think you're better off with the Iron Laws?
Yes. I wouldn't trade them for anything else. You know, I don't know where you're from, but I hear stories from the people who travel through the port. All sorts of bad things. I mean, you saw the war. Magic unchecked.
If, based on who you've talked to and where they're from, you had to leave Droska, where would you choose to go?
Hafgar sounds nice. Warm, by the water, lots of ports.
And life there, based on what you've heard?
Seems fine. Keep your nose out of things. You'll know.
Hurts the Coral Authority.
Why? Why? Are you considering immigrating? Are you considering all moving here?
Just trying to learn more. Just trying to get a feel. I mean, we haven't, like you said, we've not been here very long.
I see you have medallions, though. You've not been here very long.
Yes, we were brought here under the stewardship of an ambassador,
Oh, okay.
and he was trying to espouse on us the virtues of the Iron Authority and the Iron Laws. However, obviously his opinion would be biased, so we wanted to find out from what we would think as a learned or common individual what their opinions are.
Okay. Well, I give you my opinions. Make up your own mind. Life different here, but we get by.
So,
Thank you.
the wreckers,
Yes.
are they a pretty common problem? Are they happening pretty frequently?
More so in the factory towns, you know, in the building, in the places where they build more things. Here, not that many, you know.
Is life unduly difficult in factory towns?
No,
For
just
factory workers.
just more noisy. Just you know, lots of work to be done, lots of goods to be produced. Have to keep the country building and growing.
And the people who are wrecking, what did you say their goals are?
I did not say. I don't know. They just want to wreck the country. They want to slow things down. They want to stop production. They want to stop the country from growing.
They don't kind of spread any sort of ideologues, or that's the wrong word. Any sort of ideologies, that's it.
No ideology, just wrecking.
So if they have an ulterior motive to it, you're not sure what it is?
I don't think they do. I think they just wreck.
They're just individual malcontents. They're not organized.
No, the wreckers, as far as I know, are not organized.
Like to break into people's houses at night and wreck up the place.
Just curious what, their discontents might be. Is there any way, do you know of any way we could find out?
No. I don't know any wreckers, and if you find any, you should arrest them, turn them in.
I mean, we could also question them and turn them in.
Oh, are you a member of the Iron Authority?
No, I didn't say that. I just mean we could ask them our questions and turn them in.
Okay.
That is all I had.
Alright, well, I don't know what else we're going to find out. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, have a nice day. Enjoy
Any
it.
cookbooks?
Sure.
I'd like to buy a cookbook. Maybe from something that samples a lot of Droska, if I could.
There you go. You're a foreigner, so 5 silver.
You're foreign.
He looks at you, he says, you don't have credits, you have gold.
That's right.
We don't.
Indeed.
Only foreigners use currency in Alaska.
It's true. Are these... Is it social credits? I was just making a joke. Social credits.
How do you exchange credits?
Credits are our currency. Droskin credit.
I mean, are they physical coins?
Yes, the paper.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, paper.
I was imagining there was some sort of magical credit system that you had,
No, the paper.
What is your credit score?
Hey, we just call them credit.
They're implanted straight into your arms, and then if you don't pay up on your credit, if you go, no, I'm just kidding.
If you go to another country and get a restoration, you
Locks-
get these worms that come out of your blood. It's
Locks
very-
down your organs, they cease to function.
We've been doing this for almost a year, and yet we're no better than we were at the start.
Here we are.
Some would argue worse.
Anyway.
Okay. Shall we meet with Scowl?
Thank you for your time.
Have a good day. Enjoy Angirod. Okay, bye.
Okay,
I
bye.
love how they all end that way.
That's right.
Going to kill you now. Okay, goodbye.
We look back and it's just the genie.
That's right. It's the genie. You've just been talking to the genie the whole time.
We've been trapped underground. She's
Right.
messing around.
Eventually make your way to the port. I guess just look for Scowl. Can't remember what boat you all left him with, but he can summon them, so that's okay.
Well,
can
he
locate
didn't have
creature.
a boat. He had to basically get the broken boat back, and now he's using his own boat, I think.
Yeah, so you see this kind of keel boat kind of thing, and it has these kind of heavy black sails. It has this kind of one red oar symbol, kind of a faint red oar. And you can see a dark cloaked figure standing on the bow or the front of the ship or whatever, and you reckon that's Scowl and his ship. He looks just past from his dark and thick hood and looks to you all as you approach. Took you all long enough.
Well,
It's felt almost a month and a half.
Longer than you know.
Apologies for the delay.
That's all right. You have me under contract. Come on board.
I'll climb aboard.
So is your journey fruitful?
Indeed.
Yes. Oh boy. Triangle blades.
Why do you have mirrors around your wrists?
They are not mirrors. They are
Viruses.
powerful. Yeah, they're viruses. They are powerful.
He points to them. There's a reflection. That's a mirror. You have mirror bracers.
Oh yes, they help mirror attacks.
All right.
Triangle blades.
Compromise your footing.
He takes his long oar staff out and kind of sets it. So where are we going? Halfgar. But then, what's after Halfgar?
Are we going to Halfgar next?
I think we were going to.
We
To
were
a
going
Thadia.
straight
was-
to a Thadia.
Yeah, Thadia was closer from the north. That's
Right.
why we did this way.
So you're attempting to legally enter Athadia's waters.
Legally or illegally?
Illegally.
How long would it take us to go to Athadia?
That's an excellent question. Allow me to answer it with my big old goop map.
Is it long enough that we could forge papers between here and there if you don't have any? Scowl buddy, old pal.
So just for clarification, y'all are going to Dalmaria, right?
I-
On the continent of Athadia, not the kingdom of Athadia.
True.
We were trying to get
I
to
think-
solitude.
Understood.
Or
I thought we were trying to
regret.
get to regret.
We're looking for glitch.
Yeah.
We regret.
Take you about 2 days to get to Athadia. It's basically an extra 2 days if you go to Halfgar first. You'll lose 2 days if you enter the country legally, and there'll be a record.
So it's 2 days if we go illegally and 4 days if we go legally.
Y'all.
So here's the thing. If we go in all proper and paper-like, then we've announced our entry. And you know who can do you know what and prepare for us.
So the idea was that we were going to try to sneak in and save Glitch and stab Dupla all at the same time when she wasn't expecting it. Now, not that we've talked too much, but if we want to talk to Dupla, this would also be the right time to talk to Dupla.
I would say we sneak in, take care of Glitch first, and go from there.
Well, here's the thing. sneaking in and taking care of Glitch was how we were going to also, because part of getting Glitch was going to be releasing that thing and having it distract Dupla and leaving her with the machine. Like, if we do it that way, this is when we do it.
Correct, but I'm pretty sure not at the same time.
Can you clarify for us? The whole capture Dupla with the machine kind of aspect, that was supposed to get done as part of rescuing Glitch.
Yeah, gonna be hard to rescue Glitch when Duplo Croy is defending him, protecting him.
Oh, I didn't know if she was sitting there protecting him or off running her businesses.
She has him warded and protected.
Got it.
So if we could magically get Glitch without Dupla catching us, then yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Slim to none, but it's a possibility. So at that point, we either stab Dupla and use the machine to take her, or we talk to her with potential intentions to stab Dupla and let the machine take her.
The other thing is, if we talk to Dupla, and then we still are left after that with, we have to try to get Glitch back. We lose our element of surprise.
This is why we try to get Glitch first.
Well, that's kind of the chicken and egg scenario, right? Like, if we try to get Glitch first, we end up moving on things and not having the options that we're talking about wanting to have. Right?
Indeed.
And I guess the horrible question at that point is how much you love Glitch.
It is. I think it's less a matter of how much we love Glitch, it's how much we thought he would be of value.
Not we.
I believe that he was going to be a valuable asset moving forward.
Only if we can return him to his original form. He's not himself.
You fixed Sovellias. So.
Once. I can't seem to do it again.
Well,
This might be a little bit
you
more.
fixed what afflicted Sovellias, which is currently afflicting Glitch, is what I'm saying. You fixed that before. This is entirely different than what Glitch is dealing
I mean, the way I see it, we go after Glitch, we're gonna run into Dupla one way or another.
Yep.
I mean, doing it legally isn't gonna change anything.
Yep. I was just asking
Especially in a
if you
town
wanted to
that
talk or
doesn't
stab
exist.
first.
Listen, DM, how do we have our cake and eat it too?
I just keep trying.
Just keep working at it. Not to agonize over the decision more, but obviously if we move on Dupla and into her life, then that will completely eliminate that eventuality.
What eventuality?
The idea of entertaining any notion of instilling her or utilizing her as an ally.
Listen,
Although I have
even
no
if that's a
intentions
thing
of
that happens, hell is still going to affect the material plane in the ways that the contract is laid out.
Indeed.
Regardless of whether or not Dupla's here. Right? Because she's not involved in actually bringing him around. Right? That's what we're understanding.
She was just the broker.
Right.
She would only seem to benefit from the ongoing. Yeah.
And she does, and so she wants all those things to happen, and she's going to do what she can to make sure they happen. But they can still all happen without her, and there are plenty of other people also very powerfully motivated to make sure all those things still happen.
Indeed.
With or without Dupla, the blood moon is a problem. And with or without Dupla, like, even with Dupla and killing of Oragash, like, there's still going to be a massive problem for Gishari, and potentially for more of the world.
So then we try to rescue Glitch and hope that we can destroy Dupla in the process. Or at least survive the attempt.
I think no matter which way you spin it, no matter what sort of deal we could strike with Dupla. She doesn't want any of the things that we want. Except to keep the void out. She just doesn't want to be annihilated by the void. I think that's the only thing that she has in common with us at this point.
I mean, she also doesn't want the forces of hell to destroy Gishari.
Except she does, because she just is going to... Because all those things are still going to happen.
She either wants Vorgash prevented, or if he's summoned, kill him.
Right. But that's just
Ideally
Vorgash.
prevented.
She just doesn't want to deal with somebody else who's in power.
Good.
That's all. She has no care about what happens to the masses.
Correct.
And all of that will still happen. Everything that we saw...
I'm just confused. I thought she was wanting stuff to stay the same as it is now because she loses power otherwise.
But I think that hell would still replace the resting light.
Not if nobody does anything and he isn't summoned.
But
Like-
certain things in the contract have already been fulfilled and will still get fulfilled, right?
True.
Remember, so there's certain tiers.
True.
So certain things are still already going to
Correct,
happen.
but not as much.
Right. Correct.
So the ideal situation for her is to do nothing, and Hell Light happens.
Yep.
Without a Vorgash,
It's a good
without
situation.
the armies of Hell, but the church still has power. That is her ideal situation.
What does Hell Light even look like? Like, what did we see in the contracts? Like,
Doesn't go into detail. It goes into as much detail as we've discussed. Whatever you can picture, hell light, whatever that kind of imagery that conjures.
how is Hell Light even like something that we're leaving on the table, though?
Well, if we
There's
wish
no
to think
option
it is,
otherwise.
is it a lesser of multiple evils? Well, one could look at it this way if... Well, no, never mind. If we were allowed Dupla to succeed, we could still attempt to achieve our goals through the original mundane means that we were hoping to achieve them before we were ever aware that this was in a situation.
Say that one more time.
If Dupla is allowed to achieve what she would hope to achieve and Hell Light is implemented and the status quo is mostly maintained, the type of societal change that we are looking to instill, we could still attempt it through the mundane means that we were planning to implement before. Perhaps, but we have already aligned powerful entities, the Son of Storms,
Listen,
the Typhoon.
the thing is with all of that, like, the people who are benefiting from the status quo are just going to be more empowered at that point. So it's only going to make it harder to enact any change that you want to see.
But I mean, there's no option otherwise. It's either Hell Light or Hell.
Or if we were able
Or-
to find something else to replace Hell or Hell Light. Hell.
But Hell still happens. We just fix the arresting light.
Or we stop as much of that contract from becoming fulfilled as possible.
Which is Hell Light.
You would have less forces to contend with in the Hell Light scenario. By claiming the blade of the Vizier that's not you, some other means, and trying in some other fashion, you could perhaps contend with the lesser forces of Gishari and Hell, by that matter, and begin some kind of protracted process in taking power. Gishari isn't the only game in town, it's not the only country or continent, but it is the superpower, it is the premier superpower. The reason why the fate of the world is being decided in Gishari, it might seem to be, because they have all the power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those other countries are really cool and stuff, and they have interesting stories, and they have powerful figures, but there's a Gishari dominates.
So it's more or less, if Gishari doesn't figure out a solution, the world probably won't figure out a solution.
They might, but that's not the game you're playing. We're playing the game that takes place in the Western Continent.
Okay. Well, and I might have misunderstood because I thought that there was some avenue that we could use, like, I guess Hell Light was always if Dupla gained. I thought there was some way we could, like, put socket somebody else in there and replace Hell.
You can certainly try.
Okay. And that was the loop, like one of the loopholes that was built in.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me put it this way: Hell Light is basically already here.
Right.
They're all on one step. Yeah, it's not basically already. Depending on how we define Hell Light, like they're close. It's like, you know, it's however you want to look at it, but it's you already wanted to tear down Gishari. Whether or not that's you're combating the generals of Hell, lesser forces of Hell, status quo, whatever that looks like. You know, you can only I don't know, you can only try. You gotta do what you believe in, I guess.
So perhaps with Dupla out of the way, we could try to, as we said, utilize one of these loopholes to somehow influence what has happened with a more powerful entity or one of ourselves. I do not know.
Does it need a powerful entity for, like, the Hell Light infusion thing to work?
It's basically theory. What you do know is the blood moon is coming. That, you know, Vorgesh gets summoned, Hell reigns on Earth. If he doesn't get summoned, a lot of the steps that are in place are already in place. Life moves on. The resting light continues to fall. World gets consumed, whatever happens after that. The main thing here is they are trying to summon a Vorgesh. If they succeed, Hell on Earth will reign. If they don't succeed, the world is still ending. That's it. That's the plot. It's really not more complicated than that. There are a lot of moving pieces to get distracted, but the main plot is the world is ending. They are trying to hold on to the world as it is because their power is leaving them because the arresting light is failing. They are turning to Hell for that power and saying, "This will do. You know, what's mine is mine. This will do." And so you can either prevent the apocalypse and then try to... You can either prevent a Vorgesh from being summoned, kill him, whatever, which won't really stop the apocalypse. Or you can let a Vorgesh get summoned, stop the apocalypse, but Hell will reign on Earth. That's the gist. That's the plot.
Okay. I thought last week that there had been some, like, loophole that we found where, like, you could swap him out and it would replace the power of Hell.
Yeah, it seemed a
There-
little different.
There is, yeah. So the loophole is if once a Vorgesh is summoned, Hell's on Earth. If he dies, oh well. He's dead. He's just one figure. It's a deal, you know? It's a deal with a lot of moving parts. He's just one piece of it. He's a villain to be killed. He dies. All the other moving pieces, all the other moving parts are still there. They still move on. Things still progress.
Yep. Hell is still on Earth. They just down one general.
Yep.
And so the
That
Hell
makes
Force
sense.
would happen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So let me just sorry. Dupla wants the Hell Light version because she thinks she wants everything to happen except for Vorgesh to get summoned.
Her ideal scenario is to have a Vorgesh get summoned and to take him out.
Okay.
That is
I
her
thought it
perfect
was-
scenario.
I thought it was swapped.
My point
Understood.
was, and the other thing is, if he doesn't get summoned, there's a lot of pieces left to move. There's still life to be lived. There's still the problem's not solved, is it?
Right.
She's still around.
Right.
The world is still benefits her pretty well. World's still ending, but whatever the life looks like after that, roll the dice. No one knows.
Understood.
That is it.
Okay.
So basically, the best we can hope for is we kill her. We don't let a Vorgesh get summoned. And we found a better solution to the arresting light.
Right.
If there is one.
Least amount of loss of life. Easiest situation to handle. Don't have to deal with the Hellforged. Don't have
Right.
to deal with a Vorgesh.
Yes.
So, do we need to entertain further having a conversation with Dupla or not?
I don't think so.
It would seem to be no.
I would think it's same. She's had her chance to talk to us about anything, and instead what she did was manipulate and threaten and
I believe when she showed us her true form, she also showed us her true colors. She dropped all pretense. She does not see us as anything but ants and pawns for her to achieve her goals.
Correct.
Then I think our path is clear. I think if we were to try to enter the country through legal means, it would only do to tip off to our presence, and we would lose 2 precious days. Perhaps we can sneak in. I trust in Scal's abilities and our own.
You look. Scal is just kind of looking at all of you. So then, just straight to Delmaria then.
After that protracted conversation, yes.
All right then.
we're still technically under the iron laws when we had that conversation, right? That's,
yeah.
Okay, that's
we
what
haven't left port.
That's what
You haven't left port.
Right, perfect. What does it look like for us to try to sneak in?
It can be done. We can try.
Are there any laws on magic in Athadia Delmaria?
No, nothing like here. I mean, there are laws, but nothing like here. No, like, mystical laws.
No sort of tracking us based on casting spells and that sort of thing.
No.
Yeah, just the copper laws.
We managed to sneak through the mists. Why not Delmaria?
Yeah, what sort of obstacles are we looking at, Scal? What do you know?
I honestly haven't sailed to Delmaria all that much, but they've got pretty high. The only issue is the only fair coast is probably on the far north side or on the east side, so we're gonna have to land somewhere, probably near Solitude or east of Solitude, and basically trek up the mountain. There's no port cities. It's all sheer.
Would a map help?
No, I have a supernatural means to suss out land and water. I don't need maps. But we'll probably go a little bit east and it's pretty cool. Trek up a mountain. Well, trek up the cliff side. We could hope for high tide, but we won't be that lucky.
And we shall be off.
You can only get to the only fair port city is actually not even in Dalmaria. It's in the Kingdom of Athadia.
Will we need papers forged or anything?
If someone stops you, of course.
Well, doesn't hurt to try to do some of that.
I have 2 days.
Have you ever seen Athadian papers?
I'm not the one doing forgeries. I mean, I've probably been...
It would probably be... I guess that would be the question for me if I've ever seen...
You fought in the war in Athadia.
Perfect. There we go.
Perfect.
I think I can make a reasonable approximation.
This guy's like, so can we leave the port now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
He taps on in the boat. You can see it just kind of coasts on this incredibly still water. There's no chopping noises. There's just kind of this.
Do you know what is affecting the water?
It's very, very calm. I think it's I think it's tamed. And the boat just away from Angirod in the port city.
Gosh. Is there even a ripple as the boat moves through the water?
Yeah, sure, but it's not like the.
Right. It's just like
it's
nuts.
Like ducks in the water.
yeah,
Right.
No.
yeah.
Well, even they make like a trail.
Do you know if the water is like that around the entire continent?
I've never traveled the entire coastline. I have no way of knowing that. It's a massive country that would take months.
My bet is no.
So much for that supernatural. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Just throw
Just the dig.
My money is on your end.
I mean, she's collecting earth elementals.
I mean, she lives in this port town.
Yeah.
And she's tamed some elementals.
She tamed the ocean.
Maybe not the ocean.
So
but
wind is just out there making it calm for us.
Shit water.
So we have 2 days.
2 days.
Okay.
And the boat leaves Angirod behind, and you sail mostly west, but a little bit south.
Goodbye, Trust.
So I can either
it's
leave
one or the
myself a
other.
note for next week, or there's a thing I want to do tonight, and then over the course of 2 days after sleep, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more healings before we made it to mainland.
Okay.
So 6 more greater restorations that I could try total
Okay.
after my thing tonight.
Okay.
So long as we don't get attacked by anything.
I
Look
just
at
won't
that.
have anything
Yeah,
about
Look at
myself.
see? Yeah, there.
Yeah, we'll see how day 2 goes.
That's fine.
I'm
As
so
I said, I don't
excited.
care how you want to do this. Those are just my intentions.
Day 1, you'll get your 3 heals off. So go ahead and
Okay.
roll
So-
a d. Yes.
Well, are we leaving in the morning or at night?
We're leaving
Are
now.
You have just left Droska.
And it's high noon.
He asked like 3 times.
Can we leave port? Can we leave? Can we leave? No,
Oh.
No, I know we're leaving. Like, I
Oh.
got that. I'm just wondering what time of day is it. Are we leaving like at the
Oh.
end of the day? Are we taking a rest before you do your healings? Like, how is this working? Because I'd like to meditate potentially first and see if I can fix this myself.
Okay, so there will be a full rest between now and the healings because I want to do a thing tonight with my 5th level spell slot. That's not
Exactly.
healing.
That's
Just
all
do
I
it.
wanted to
So
do.
that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Got it.
So
We're all on the
up
same
to you,
page.
DM, which order you would like to do these things in.
Well, go ahead and roll me a. Well, you have to. So you're gonna rest.
Yeah, and he's gonna try to do something in his meditation.
Understood. Okay, you can
She's
try to
gonna
meditate
try
first.
to do a
All
thing.
right,
when
so
she
I want to
sleeps.
meditate
Yeah.
and use and focus on the void diamond
Okay.
to see if I can either try to fix this by channeling the void or harnessing the void somehow during my
Mother of God.
meditation.
Go ahead and roll Arcana.
It's a smart move.
I'm
It's
excited.
a choice.
I'm excited.
That is a 21.
Pretty hot. I'm
Okay.
very aroused.
So you you sit there and meditate and rest and focus on the void diamond. You no longer hear the voice. That person's dead. Yeah. Because the tall Anastasia is dead. He was the one calling out through the void.
Oh, and we murder stabbed him.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Murder
Well,
stab.
I mean, hang on.
Yes,
He
that's-
tried to murder stab
Yeah.
us.
He sent you into a different galaxy.
He did that.
It's frowned upon.
Yep.
It's on.
Right.
It's on
Hospitable.
coup.
That's right. That's right.
So instead of hearing the kind of Sovellias, you just kind of hear a. Go ahead and roll intelligence.
Rough.
Yeah, that is a 7.
There's a kind of flash. You can see yourself looking. You're kind of standing in the void. There's another flash.
Yes. He's here.
You wander into my domain again.
Oh no.
Step on me, whispering, Daddy.
Whispering Zaddy.
It has been some time since I last saw you. Weeks have passed.
Sure, weeks are nothing to your kind. Your domain left me scarred. I wish to fix it.
I consider it a blessing. It's
Oh,
more
yes.
than you deserve.
And this is hardly a blessing.
You can see the Whispering Father is in his strange steel void chair that scrapes across the infinite blackness. This old robed man with a decrepit hand. Why would you get rid of these gifts?
Because your gifts are hampering my abilities.
That's because you don't know how to use them.
Well then,
Scrapes forward.
I love it. Share.
Like nails on a chalkboard.
How am I to use something that makes me slower and more clumsy?
Your body is just adapting. It's making room for your evolution.
Rob's comment really tickled me. I'm sorry.
Speaking the man stuck to a chair. Mm-hmm. It's not rude at all.
I'm sure you're fully evolved. Scraping around in that chair everywhere.
God. Fuck.
Thank you for the raid.
Who are these people?
Board games.
Oh, thanks, board games. Thanks for the
you.
raid. Awesome.
Who are they?
Who are you?
Get out of my
Who enters my domain? Board games.
Exactly.
The whispering father. My body is withered and tired, but my mind is more powerful than any being you know. You could sacrifice so much and gain so much more. You could learn more void magic. I could enhance your mind.
But cripple my body in the process?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think that would be all that worth it. I kind of need my body to work correctly.
You see his kind of long, slender hands with nails that are curved, aged, and yellow. You need your body. Okay. Perhaps a compromise can be made.
I'm listening.
Yes.
You're a student of your body, yes?
Alright.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Both body and mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But there is a darkness in your heart. We could use that darkness.
Will it fix my spine?
It would enhance it. We could replace it.
Have you seen how a cuttlefish moves?
Is it graceful?
But it could offset people. It could make it harder to communicate. And it would bring you closer to the void. Closer to the void and away from the arresting light. You could be my greatest creature. We could do such beautiful things together.
Oh my god.
So, what would I lose in the process? You said compromise, so
Yes.
I'm sure you gained something.
Like I said, we would grow something inside of you. One day would leave.
Oh my god. You know, just a xenomorph.
I've been told recently that I'm going to be facing almost impossible odds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I need everything I can get in order.
Oh my god, no.
If I have to sacrifice myself in the process to save others, then
You see his kind of long and decrepit hand reach beside his chair. He kind of fuffles around.
These are poor choices.
Pulls out very, very long and writhing staff.
What are things gonna do? Oh God.
You know what? This would replace your spine. Wiggles around. It would reverse your effects.
Just let the lady heal you. We're not there.
It would be so difficult to pin down. You can see his very long, curved, and yellow nails.
Oh
No!
no!
You see
Oh
the
my
worm.
God, no!
You see the worm creature just fly at your face.
No!
You, as it forces its way, you can feel its different prongs and tentacles stretch in, pulling your mouth apart. You can feel your teeth shatter and break. And it reaches in and pulls bit by bit as it crawls down your throat. And you feel it settle in your gullet and start to dig its way back into your spine.
God!
You're awakened from your meditation. It'll leave you one day, but you will survive. You now have permanent, for now, advantage on all dexterity checks and dexterity saving throws. Your charisma bonus is reduced to 4.
Oh. Yep, that tracks.
Meat.
That experience is what it's like to give a Xeno ability.
I mean, I really want to do my thing tonight, but I can't top that.
You should try.
I literally feel like my actual real spine feels weird right now.
Well, that's because Matt implanted something in you earlier.
Poor choices.
Oh, God.
What do you think is gonna happen when that thing leaves your body?
I'll figure it out. That's
Problem
no
for
problem.
later.
You'll survive.
Other people won't.
You'll survive.
Awkward, yeah, that's true.
Oh my God.
Alrighty. Do
That
you want
was
to do
a
your
choice.
thing? Yes. How can I?
You reach the drill. I can make you strong.
Hang on. Chris wanted a good cackle from the whispering Zaddy. There you go. Gotcha.
Clip that. Make that your ringtone.
That's right. Oh. Every time you get a text message.
So, you are casting what?
Dream.
Okay.
Okay. And just to clarify, make sure we're on the same page
Yes.
here. If the target is asleep, the messenger appears in the target's screen and can converse.
Yep.
Messenger can also shape the environment of the dream, creating landscapes, objects, and other images.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, well, dream theater.
Perfect. Then I would like to appear as the smoking lady
Okay.
in her pie shop.
Okay.
Well, damn. Thank you, Legends of a Vampire.
They did it!
Oh.
Legends! You spoil us!
You just missed the whispering Zaddy.
Oh yeah, you just missed the,
Yeah.
the
Can you give
horrible...
For the raid, can you
I
give
made
them a
poor
whispering
choices.
Zaddy cackle?
It will leave your body, but you will survive.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
So, you enter the dream of, I'm assuming you're targeting the Duchess? Who are you targeting?
Whoa.
Duplicry.
No, oh my god, oh my god,
But as
no.
the smoking lady. And
Oh my
if
God.
I manage to catch her, would you like some pie?
This is the night of really, really terrible choices.
You see her standing in the middle of this diner, this pie shop that you've constructed in this dream world.
Hyperventilating.
The Duke LaCroix, the woman of simple brown riding leathers and dark hair. Who are you to enter my dreams?
Can I offer you some pie?
Sure. I would love some.
Pull whatever lies. Do you know where you are?
She grabs it, flings it.
Wherever it hits, it goes slightly dark, like it's the void.
She kind of steps back. I do not know where I am.
Good. It's in between.
Why do you come for me now? After all these years.
Holy fuck.
You abandoned us. We made do.
And as the spot gets bigger, who abandoned whom?
You abandoned us. You did this. You brought this on.
Remind me.
She looks at you. It was your choice. It was your choice. You don't need reminding. It grows because of you. The light fails because of you. You gave up. Now I'm fixing everything. Picking up after your mess.
Oh my god.
I almost prefer the dark, the light of hell.
Is that where you are now? Hell?
It's where you hope to put everybody.
It will be my hell to rule. It's time for a new world order. You, Mulder, you're the past. We're the future.
Just a crumbling foundation on your future. Can I offer you any more pie?
I don't think I'm hungry.
I'm gonna sit down a piece of void pie right in front of her. That's just nothing but starlight. One of those diamonds.
You kept it out for centuries. You built the world. And when we needed you the most, you ran. You tucked tail and you ran. You walked away.
If I've regained my hope, how do I help?
It's too late for that now. I've seen the light. The real light. The light inside me. My power.
And you'll be better.
Better or worse. The world will be ruled on my terms.
We'll see. Whole thing goes straight in a void. I disappear.
Holy shit! What the fuck just happened?
You know, Justice wants to do a thing. You know, it's nothing. I'm just gonna meditate and talk to her, you know, of Morgosh.
Well, folks. We did start late, but I think that's a pretty good point to end it, don't you?
I think so too.
I thank you, Legend of Vantress, so much for the raid. It means the world to
Oh,
us.
goodness.
If you all caught that little dramatic end there, please follow, subscribe, support us so we can continue doing this.
That's right.
It's so good to see everyone.
That was intense.
That was
crazy.
It was a slow burn for the first half.
As we like to work. We have an episode here and there where we kind of work through stuff. It's all right.
It's a lot of moving pieces.
It's 46 episodes. Okay, we crank it up to 11 always. And that person knows you apparently, or they want your body. I'm not sure.
Axel Hellfire.
Probably both.
Maybe a little bit of both.
I mean, it's a good time to listen as anybody. 46 episodes, new stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
It's good. It's actually a good time to turn in. They're working through the meat and bones of it. So, that is all from us for tonight. Thank you all so much for showing up. Do we want to raid somebody?
Yeah.
We should. But before we leave, everybody, don't forget. Tune in right here on Dutch Brewery this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central. We are running our All Turtle one shot, and Nikki from your lovely Legends of Adventurous, Feywild Child, will be guesting.
It'll be a good time.
I will be DMing, and Matt and Rob, Nikki and Dan from Variant Roles will all be playing. So come by, check that out, 2:30 p.m. Central. And it's kind of a celebration. Kind of ended up happening that it's around our year mark of streaming. So kind of a fun little celebration there.
Yeah. And holy shit, let me cut the sad music. That was an intense, crazy,
yeah, oh
wild
my gosh,
time.
wow.
Thank you all so much for showing up. We'll just follow our socials.
Join us on Discord.
Join us on Discord. #Discord. I am Zonked. We will see. We'll pick back up this. We're gonna rate Soul Bear RPG. They're up. They're up for another hour.
Nice.
Let's get them.
Let's go Soul Bear. Is it 2 R's?
So
Yes.
it's 2 hours, yeah.
RPG some love. We're just gonna keep passing you all around all night.
That's right. That's right.
The Eternal Raid.
The Eternal Raid Train. That's right.
Ever growing, stronger and stronger.
Thank you all so much. If I haven't said enough, thank you.
We love
Go
you all.
Soul Bear some love.
Are we no longer live?
We are still live, but they are not watching us.
That's right.